God damn it. Powerwash Simulator. Hey, I promised you a horror game, and no game makes me quite as uncomfortable as Powerwash Simulator. And since all of the other horror games of Halloween have fallen somewhat flat, that's what we're going to do now, okay? You can't accuse Arch of not keeping his word. Plus, considering what we're going to be playing tomorrow, I feel as if this is a perfect, easy beginning to get into the true horrors of Dragon Age the Veilguard, which I'm sure will be an interesting digital video gaming experience. No doubt. No doubt. What do you think about the thumbnail? It's got very nice water effects, doesn't it? I quite appreciate the water effects on this one. I do. Speaking of water effects, here we are. Shrek. For some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why Powerwash Simulator, of all things... Oh, I'm kind of disappointed that my sword hilt doesn't tilt as I do the thing. I don't know why Powerwash Simulator, of all the things in the whole universe... Are those just like 2D sprite birds? Have all of these weird collaborations. I do not understand it, and yet, here we are. Apparently, somebody has...
Service guarantees citizenship.
No one. Had violently explosive diarrhea in the area, I guess? What's this? It's a stool. Fantastic. I remember how to play this game. Yeah, more or less. Oh, Jesus. Oh, those. Oh, boy, those textures. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Right. Oh, my God. Wow. Okay. I'm getting the distinct impression that somebody phoned in this particular DLC just a tiny little bit. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just... Oh, boy. Okay, well. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, indeed. Anywho. Video game. How did video game work again? Right, I think I understand some of this. Right, so you've got nozzles, and the schnozzles will create water. There you go. Look at that. Let's get that hideous texture removed. My God. That is one of the worst textures I think I have ever actually seen. That was just disgusting on so many levels. Jesus Christ. I don't know. I feel like the dev team might be... Maybe they're letting their success, go to their heads. They feel like they no longer really need to try or anything, and that's why they created that abomination. Who knows? Who knows? The texture work are the real horror? I would say so, yes. Good God. Seriously. Just because you've created this endless crash cow where you can just... release a couple of DLC textures in the newest Unreal Engine and earn bank off it, doesn't mean you get to make textures that awful. That's not how that works. That is not in the legal agreement between us. Which reminds me, the Dragon Age Veilguard, NDA review guidelines are supposedly leaked a little while ago. And it is so obviously fake that I'm a little bit upset that people are falling for it. I mean, the very fact that you have review guidelines and NDAs in the same official document should already be a little bit of a dead giveaway that mayhaps this is not entirely on board. Come now, everyone. I'm pretty sure Dragon Age Veilguard will fail on its own merit. No reason to look unhinged. Tennille89, aka Dislike Puns. Oh, I thought for a moment there, I thought it said disliked penis, and I was about to be upset. If you truly do hail from the realm that men's one called hell, when you returned there, you tell your kindred it was Arch who threw you back. Drops Concord into Warp Rift. Yes. Ah, Concord. Concord was a sad little video game. But are we not all but sad little video games? What is that? Are we not all but sadly... Hi. Huh. Are we not all but sad little video games now? Was what I was saying there before I was so rudely interrupted by the sudden appearance of a face. Hold on. Can I... Oh, thank God. They've already cleaned the inside of his mouth. Okay, well, thank God for that. I admit, I know very little about Shrek or its lore. All I know is the joke about Donkey. That's about it. And the donkey had sex with a dragon, I think, and produced dragon babies, which does... It does create a lot of interesting question about logistics, I guess, and how exactly such a thing was possible. Do you think the Powerwash crew at this point have, like, texture tools? You know? Like, they can just create, like, an object in 3D, and then they press a button, and it's already, like, dirtified? Like, they don't need... Because surely there isn't a guy sitting at the Powerwash studio hand-painting the muck, is there? Like, that has got to be one of the worst jobs ever, I would imagine. Also, I really should just finish one thing at a time instead of wandering back and forth and being stupid about it. Oh, no, I still only have Muck's caliber. Oh. How tragic. So, Frank, what do you do for work? Oh, I paint grime textures on Shrek objects. What? That doesn't make any sense. That's what I said. There's probably even a guy at the studio who's like, oh no, I could automate this. Like, yeah, no, I could totally automate this. You know, I could just flip a button and we'd have like the grime texture and everything. The boss comes into his room one day, his little cubicle, and starts yelling at him. Like, don't you dare ever suggest that again. Frank was crying for hours, thinking you were going to steal his job and handing it over to the programmers or something. Frank puts a lot of effort into painting those muck textures. Frank has a family, 6 kids, in case you were wondering. His grandparents are staying with him now because, you know, they were driven from their homes by a tragic paintbrush accident? I don't know, an oil spill? Something along those lines. Something environmental and churlish and terrible, you know? And if it weren't for Frank, they would all just starve to death. Frank needs this job, goddammit. It's not much, but it's a humble duty. A humble job. I should take a few minutes right now and watch Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life to get into the vibe of Shrek. I don't know if I should do that. And hello, Tori, I see you there as well. Tori is extra well-known chatter, by the way, so if you manage to catch her with a channel membership role, I will double your next donation. It's 30% for normal people I recognize. Then it's a 300% increase for Buckymus. Anyone who catches Buckymus gets a 300% increase to their next donation. And Tori is a goldfish, which means she's 100% bonus. Whilst Bucky is the... What would Bucky be? Bucky would be the ruby fish. Yes, the ruby fish. Difficult to catch and grumpy when you do, but highly valuable. Yes. Is there any of these but say spicy, like Stella Blade or something? You know what? Kind of. There used to be a, I think one of...
Fire is the answer.
What came first? This game series or Viscera Cleanup? Because there was a series called Viscera Cleanup Detail, and the joke of Viscera Cleanup Detail was that, you know how after the action... Can I not get in here? There we go. You know, after the action hero gets through a level and there's like corpses all over the place, like who cleans that up? Who fixes that? Who unmessifies the battle scene afterwards? And Viscera Cleanup Detail was a joke game that, well, answered that question. Like, you clean that up. I remember it was one of those auteur games before auteur games were even a thing we fully understood. Like all of those pretty gay people played it. It's like, look at me, I am in a cultural commentary on video games or something. Ah! I have turned video games into a 5D commentary chess move game or something or other. I always did dislike those people quite strongly. But then, unfortunately for all of us, people started looking at that and thinking to themselves, wow, that actually looks kind of fun. I would like a video game, sir, that is just that. Can I have it, please? And now we've got all kinds of stuff like that. Viscera Cleanup Detail, Powerwash Simulator. There was another one that Lum sent me the other day where you play as a goblin and you go into the dungeon to reset all of the traps and clean up all the gore after the heroes have passed through. And the goblins have barefooted, which is why Lum was so interested in it. Like, look, the goblin have bare feetsies. I know, Lum. Calm down. Calm yourself for but a moment. An impossible request, of course. I'm starting to miss the 40k version of this already. At least in the 40k version, there was just one big model, whereas now I just look around, it's like, wow, I've almost finished cleaning parts of this one singular cart, whereas the entire rest of the city is still covered in grime. I don't like that. I feel like the scale has increased, and I'm not a fan. Rob623, quick update on the PC Gamer article I mentioned yesterday. I remember that one, but one of the devs mentioned it is accelerationism, fun ideology. That'd also be nice to Frank, his wife, a feminist, and watches Anita. His wife is a feminist, I'm presuming, and watches Anita. I don't even know if that's possible anymore. I think Anita has just ceased being a thing. I think she abandoned the internet again finally a little while ago. Or, well, fuck, it wasn't even the internet at that point. I think she abandoned content creation full stop recently. When she cancelled Feminist Frequency, her little radio show, I guess? Sort of, kind of, but also not really. That was an interesting turn of events. Then again, the grift had been going pretty poorly for quite a few years at that point, so I suppose she figured it was just time to, you know, pack it in. And hey, she got several years of prosperity off that, so you can't claim that she didn't engage in the grind. Wow, I've cleaned 2%. I'm growing upset already. I'm growing... I am growing upset already. God. Why did I decide to do this? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Guilt, I guess. There, the wagon is clean, except for the wagon bed? Why is the... Oh no, don't tell me. Oh, yep, it's dirty underneath as well. How did you get dirt under there? How? How exactly did you manage? I think I want to blame just poor impulse control, honestly. Yeah, poor impulse control. It's a problem that many men have. Poor impulse control. It's something we struggle with. I think it's a long-term thing since we were children, basically, that started teaching us all of these problems that we never quite figured out how to get around. I seem to remember the 40-degree nozzle was kind of shit, but I don't know, seems to be doing the job. Youngin 2, how much to get you to play Goblin Cleanup demo? I don't know about the demo, but I think Lum Lum has already talked about wanting to play the full one, so... I suspect Lum Lum will drag me along on that in not too long. I think it had a Kickstarter that did pretty well, so... Hey, good on them. Well, this actually works excellently. I don't think this is how a power washer works, by the way. I feel like the water pressure would remain pretty consistent. Now, sure, you'd have a wider nozzle, and so you'd be having a little bit less water, but I still think the water pressure would be pretty heavy duty, right? Maybe not. F. Fuck. Seems like a weird thing to put on your banner. You know, the question about water pressure just reminded me of a cursed conversation many, many years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was playing a nice game of Warno, which is a nice little video game, which has been sadly somewhat outcompeted by Broken Arrow, in my opinion. But Warno is a fun little video game. And I was playing it with a bunch of friends of mine. And one of them, individual by the name of Fuzzybeard, had recently picked up a new curse word, sort of. He'd grown attached to the idea of power washing people with pee. Don't ask me how, but his little brain had come to the realization that if he told people that he would power wash them with pee, then that would leave them feeling a little bit distraught. And hey, fair enough. And like a puppy with a new chew toy, he decided that this would be his go-to curse or verbal assault strategy from there on onwards. This lasted for weeks, mind you, and unfortunately other people in my friend group, like Kyle, then decided to fight fire with fire. And so we had these two individuals talking about how they were going to power wash one another with pee. And this just kind of kept on going for a while.
Service guarantees citizenship.
It kind of displays the fundamental male Neanderthalness of the penis possessing half of the species. The urge to subjugate others via urine, in this case, I guess. Which leads us back to the problem of poor... Oh, can I? A longer ladder! Wow. Does that help? I don't know if that helps. I feel like this is still really far away, but hopefully it'll be good enough. I think it's a leftover from youth, basically, you know. When you are but a young man, you don't quite know how anything works yet. You don't understand how your body functions. And your body really is not particularly comparative. Is not particularly cooperative either. Yes, that was the word I was looking for. Cooperative. The classic example of the Y-boner. See, for many people later in their life, the Y-boner is when they find a new piece of pornography and they find it weirdly attractive and they wonder to themselves, why? Why do I find this interesting? And if they think about it for long enough, they'll find out they'll come up with a rationale. But even earlier in life than that, in your teenagers and early adulthood, like well into your 20s, your body will just do things that you have no control over. The mysterious boner, for example. You're just sitting there on the bus, you're going to school, you're looking out the window, there's nothing even remotely feminine within a 50-yard radius, and suddenly the pee-pee is like, hello there. And then you get embarrassed like, oh god, not now. Why? You have to pull out your rucksack or whatever and try to cover it, like, please go away, stop. Stop this, I'm in public. But I thought you were bored, I am.
Guarantees citizenship.
But then surely you would, I don't know, I figured I'd keep you company. Like, no. And it would happen in the weirdest of times as well. I vividly remember taking the train. I was taking the train to go to the airport. And I'm sitting there, staring out the window, thinking of nothing in particular other than being bored. And again, Pee-Pee goes, hello. Hello. It's like, no, not now. But are you sure? You said you were bored. I was. Wouldn't you like to play a game? No, I'm in public. Oh. And again, you have to do that thing where you look nonchalant, making sure that the other 5 people in the little bus room with you don't notice or worry about this. Playing it nonchalantly. Having your jacket on your lap, making sure that it is not visible. The problem then is that Pee-Pee might easily go, aha, I see you're trying to suppress me. Unfortunately for you, resistance only makes me much harder. And there you are. And I am convinced this is just a common day experience now for men. Like everyone I know that I've talked to have had a similar story. And worse, and significantly worse, okay? I was once told the tale of nonchalantness where a buddy of mine was on vacation with a bunch of other friends. And the food in that country was extraordinarily fatty. Now, the Norwegian constitution does not deal well with fatty food. It causes all sorts of problems, really, so normally you prefer not to engage with it on a large scale, but, you know, that was the only food available, and if you're hungry, so there you go. Can I just put this on the ground somewhere? No, I need to put it in specific places, okay.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
And he was out walking, and suddenly his stomach goes, hello! You remember me? I'm the thing that digests your food, and I'm not used to all of this stuff. I'm going to shit your pants now, in public. And of course, this caused a little bit of a panicked moment, because he could feel something was coming on. And he could know as well that it was one of those moments where you weren't quite sure what was happening. You know? When you have a few moments of contemplation, when you're thinking to yourself, am I about to just fart, in which case, I can let it rip, no problems. Or am I about to actually violently shit myself? Which bears significantly greater consequences than just, you know, farting a little bit in public. And the wise thing to do in this scenario is, of course, to simply just, you know, turn to your friends and go like, listen, all the fatty food is really not agreeing with me. We gotta find like a toilet or something. But this would, of course, be an admission of weakness, wouldn't it? Yes, of course. This would be an admission that something was wrong, and that you needed aid to deal with that thing which was wrong. And asking for any sort of help, no matter how willingly it might be offered, this is what we call a sign of weakness. And you gotta be very careful about those signs of weaknesses. And so he simply decided to play it off, acting all nonchalantly, like I probably won't shit myself. Well, 5 minutes later, reality disagreed with this assertion. He then had to simply just walk around with shit in his pants for another solid 30-odd minutes until he could find an adequate excuse, go like, oh, I gotta go pee. And went to the restroom. Now, of course, by that point, the damage was long since done, but at least he managed to stuff enough paper into his pants to limit the, the follow-up effects. The bleed-through, basically. It's things like these that make me wonder if the male part of the species is really as well suited to survival as we often think it is. Anywho, welcome to Powerwash Simulator, the game that makes me think about dumb things. Which is kind of why I dislike it. See, some people claim that this game gives you a feeling of zen. Not really, in my opinion. It gives me more of a introspective mood, honestly. And hell, we haven't even gotten to the mad parts yet. And hello, Lum Lum. Hello, Lum Lum. Have you enjoyed the conversation? I think she probably has. We haven't gone to any feet topics yet, but I'm sure we'll get there eventually. Alan Vang, Arch, you should get Kibbs or anyone else to join you so that you can share the pain. I don't know about that. See, I feel like that would almost in part defeat the purpose. I feel like the reason why chat wants me to play this on occasion is because it has various... I don't know. I feel like shower thought might be, you know, potentially a decent one explanation, but at the same time, I don't think that's necessarily descriptive either. Is that dirt too? Oh, that's dirt as well. Okay. Wash away the red stains. Stains are your enemy. I've decided that I don't want to wash this part of the level anymore. I want to go somewhere else. I want to go wash something else. I don't want to wash that. I want to wash the ground. See, the problem with the 45-degree nozzle is that it doesn't quite give an entirely clean sweep on the first path through, you know? So you kind of like gotta do multiple sweeps, and I don't know if I like that. I'm not convinced by it. On the same topic as previously, although a slight deviation, have you ever considered that the reason why women like vampires so much is that it would be somebody able to drink up their menstrual blood without vomiting? I've thought about that. I think there's something to it, because vampires is a very feminine fetish, okay? Most vampire fans are women, particularly today of the sparky variety. I think that has a deep conversation with the whole menstrual blood thing, because menstrual blood is very rarely appealing, and females have a hard time with the feeling that anything about them is unappealing, even as they are constantly determined to make themselves feel unappealing as well. It is a weird thing. And so I posit the reason why there are so many female fans of vampires is because of the idea of drinking menstrual blood. I also think this has something to do with the innate grotesqueness of it as well. Like, it's a dragon. Oh. Like, the innate grotesqueness of it as well, because this is something we see in feminine art, for example, where a feminine artist, and I apply that term with a very large quotation mark, decides to make a painting with menstruation blood. There was one. Where was it? I think it was in the Middle East, remarkably enough, where they had like an art, like performative art exhibit gala thingy, where you had a fat chick, okay? And the fat chick was dangling from what I can best describe as a swing of some sort. And she was hanging over a canvas. And while she was doing this, she herself was swinging whilst having blood dripping from her, funny spot. Now, bottled blood, she wasn't, bleeding live, which I thought would have been a more impactful performance, frankly. But the idea of this was to simulate the, production of menstrual blood in an artistic form, so as to demonstrate the suffering of womankind. And in that, I think the art piece was largely successful. I think it actually crossed the boundaries of gender, honestly, The women will look at that and think of menstrual pains and be like, yes, that is suffering. Men will look at that and just, vomit in their mouths a little bit, and they too will understand suffering. It strikes me as appropriate that I'm playing a game where we're spraying stuff all over the place while we're having this conversation. I also suspect it has something to do with submission and power as well. See, one of the leading feminine fetishes isn't necessarily just, spousal abuse and getting beaten or tied up. It has to do with power and power dynamics as well. And we'll double this back to menstrual blood in a moment, don't you worry, but Dizwiz, you should eat good for tomorrow's Veilguard stream, like boiled potato without salt, because you won't be sleeping well. It will be too stimulating. Yes, I should have a nice meal of boiled potato. We ate what we Norwegians mockingly refer to as steak the other day. So when we say steak, we don't mean steak as in a beef patty or anything like that, like an actual steak. What we mean when we say steak is these really, really, really thin slices of, I think, cow? Pork? I don't know. I think cow, probably. Like really, really thin slices of beef. So they're not really a beef. They're just like you taste it and it's like, wow. If it was like a centimeter thicker, I might actually be enjoying this. It's incredibly flavorless. And it is generally eaten with potatoes, as is most things, of course. And I was just sitting there, and the only thing you can taste is the sauce. And just a regular brown sauce also, nothing particularly extravagant or fascinating. Just a regular plain brown sauce, and I'm sitting there eating potatoes and eating these tiny, thin, flavorless pieces of presumed beef. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there are elements of Norwegian cuisine that might actually require a mild improvement here and there. But largely, simply just eating the boiled potato is not only adequate, it is in fact preferable. But sometimes. Then again, in other areas too. This is an American thing, where you just eat steak, like a proper steak in this case. There's a slab of meat, and you just eat that as just that. You just eat the meat. Just the meat. You don't have a sauce on it, you don't have french fries with it, and maybe you have like a baked potato. Like, you criticize me for eating boiled potatoes, you're like, oh yeah, it's a baked potato. Baked potatoes are the best because you manage to work basically all of the already limited flavor out of it by baking it. Yeah. It just tastes like potato now, nothing else. That's worse. Baked potato is the worst. It's even more difficult to eat as well. It's the worst part. Baked potato is the worst. Unless it is baked potato where you eat like bacon and cheese and butter with it, next to it. So you have the baked potato, you split it open, and you just have like an entire like spoon's worth of butter up there. So you can see the little potato pieces swimming in butter. And then you eat spoonfuls of bacon and cheese next to it. That's pretty good. But just baked potato is an awful side dish. Terrible side dish. Probably one of the worst side dishes ever. Like, I'd almost just want to eat rice instead. Ugh, terrible. That is a true failing of the American populace, in my opinion. You know, almost as massive a failing as the Vietnam War. There's the planter not clean. There you go, the planter stream. Rubber legs, down, Boner-kun. Yes. See, every man knows that. When it has, like, you're sitting in class, you're taking notes, you're paying attention for once. Again, you're not thinking about anything erotic in the slightest, and your penis is like, hello, it is I. Play with me. No, I am at school. Yeah? So?
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
It is neither the time nor the place, Boner-kun. Please, cease your antics immediately. And again, then you get self-conscious and you wonder if anybody knows. Nobody ever knows. Nobody can even ever tell. Like, females think they can tell. Females can't tell. Other men might be able to tell. Like if you're sitting there and you decide to suddenly cross your legs for no reason, another man might look at that and go like, that's an inherently uncomfortable position. Are you having a moment? You might lock eyes across the room, you know, understanding flashing between the two of you like, I get you, bro. I get you. I understand. A knowing nod, maybe. A moment of shared brotherly kindness and love. I don't know about love. That might be a little bit gay. Actually, yeah, that would be the nightmare scenario. If you have that moment of connection with a fellow brother, and he looks you in the eyes and he blows you a little kiss. Oh, that would be... Oof. That would be one of the nightmare moments that would replay in your head forever, and you'd never be able to forget about it. It would be one of those things where, you know, you go to bed, you're ready to go to sleep, you're tired, you're exhausted from a long day, and your brain is like, hey, remember that one really awkward thing 10 years ago? Yes. Well, we're gonna relive that. Frame by fucking frame. I've saved this in your memory archives. You might not be able to remember where your car keys are, but I guarantee you, you will never forget this. No one, you think of dumb things make Powerwash streams uniquely and strangely entertaining. Team Money Dog, Arch, I've been trying to catch you live since your Factorio stream. You can hold F to pick up items on the conveyor belt when walking over it. Oh, I didn't know that. It's been hitting my disc when you break the belts. Also, Dick Girl Deathclaw. I didn't know that. Thank you. I won't remember that until next time, but thank you. Okay, Dick Girl Deathclaw.
Fire is the answer.
Okay, I'll do a calendar update soon as well, but I'm on a roll here, so I need to keep going. We were talking about menstrual blood. Let's bring it back to menstrual blood, because I think... Okay, you know what? No. I've got another embarrassing story to tell, as of when I was a child, when I was baby Arch. When I was but a baby Arch, I had a thing with blood, okay? Blood is something that freaks me the fuck out. Not other people's blood, weirdly. I am quite happy to see other people's blood. That's never really worried me too much, but my own blood freaks the fuck out of me. Like, I have an actual unironic phobia for this. And I've talked about this before. Where my own blood freaks me out to no extent. Like, I cannot take a blood sample, okay, without laying down. If I try, I will pass the fuck out. And again, you've got that moment of masculinity where you always do this. I'm like, okay, it's just a phobia, it freaks me out, but I'm a man, goddammit, as I settle my testicles more comfortably in my pants. And I walk into the doctor's office, and smiling little nurse is like, we're gonna take a blood test today, are we? It's like, yes. And I just sit down in the chair and I hold out my arm, like, I'm a man, goddammit, I'm not pussing out of this. I am not having any effect whatsoever. And the nice lady pricks my arms, like, just starts talking to me, as the nurses do. And I'm trying to maintain a conversation, as I am acting as if nothing's wrong. And then I'm noticing, like, conscience failing. And pass out right there in the chair, freaking this poor nurse woman out like nobody's business either. Like, she's fucking panicking. What the fuck is happening now? And so sheepishly, I come to a minute later and like, yeah, I got a thing about blood tests. It really freaks me out. And she just looks at me in that condescending way that females do, where it's like, why didn't you just say something then? Like, you wouldn't understand. Your gender is defined by its weakness. Mine is not. Unironically true. Unironically fucking true. For women, admitting to a flaw, admitting to a weakness, is a form of strength. It is a power play. To a man, it is everything but. It is the exact opposite in every way. And so you will take a course of action, knowing full well it will have negative consequences, and you'll still do it. It's like pissing on a power line just because your friend does it. Your friend pisses on the power line, go like, that really hurts. You do it. You look at him, no. Then he goes like, pussy. Then you piss on the power line. This is all correct. This is all true. It's a nurse and a woman to boot. Who cares what she thinks, lol? No. It is still a sign of weakness, motherfuckers. A sign of weakness that must be fought down. Down. Signs of weakness must be stomped out at every possible moment. It's that simple. But I think I've passed out in public twice because of this, and one that didn't quite. Have you? Okay, here's another one. Here's an even more stoic example. Okay, so I was in class, and we were having like wood carving, like hands and what if you Americans call it? Like crafts and arts or something, right? When you're working with wood and you're working with knives and shit, right? And I slip, and I get myself a really nasty cut. And I look at this cut, and I see the blood beginning to well out, and my brain is like, oh, you're bleeding, you're gonna die. And again, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is gonna be a problem, but I'm in class. All of my friends are nearby. There are girls nearby. And at 17 years old or so, that's the only thing you can think of. And so you're like, okay, well, we can't show weakness here. So I have a moment of unironic hysteric blindness. Like, I can't see a damn fucking thing. I am unironically blind. Everything is black. Purest fucking black. Yet nevertheless, even whilst hearing other people talk to me like, wow, you cut yourself really bad, and like teachers panicking, I managed to navigate my ass over to the first aid shrine, knock over about, 35% of what's inside of it, find something that resembles a bandage, and put this over the bleeding part, whilst reassuring everyone, still suffering from hysterical blindness, mind you, like, no, I'm totally fine. And as I finally begin to regain my vision, like the teacher is staring at me, and this tiny little fucking band-aid that is doing nothing to staunch the bleeding whatsoever. It's like, no, I think we're gonna go to the infirmary. It's like, I look down, see the blood again, like, okay, that is a lot of blood. Maybe we should do that. Male moments, chat. Carpentry works? Carpentry works? Oh, no. Carpentry, yes. Carpentry is probably more or less correct. First aid shrine? Yeah, yes. Oh god, wait, is that Smuts? That is Smuts. Yes, first aid shrine. Yes, we're doing 40k. But the little cabinet, first aid cabinet, that's the one. Cabinet is the word I was looking for. Cabinet was the word I was looking for. There you go, chat. Just a flesh wound. Yes, precisely. Just a flesh wound. And if you get a flesh wound, you're just gonna have to deal with it on your own. Nice and simple. You can't expect anybody else to deal with it for you. It is now in whatever the first aid shrine. Yes, chat. It's a much better name for it. Far superior. Mr. Personality, going to have to take Arch to a steakhouse. I wouldn't mind. We've got steakhouses in Norway. Some. They're really good. They're really good. A good proper steak is excellent. But again, you need something next to it. You need like a nice pepper sauce, for example, or French fries. French fries goes so well with steaks. A nice steak is made all the nicer with a little bit of French fries. Yes. A little bit of French fries is absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. 100%. I don't know why I'm back here cleaning the same part that I walked away from cleaning a little while ago. I think I was cleaning the streets, but, you know, then I decided not to clean the streets for a reason or another. But, returning the topic to menstrual blood. Actually, before we return the topic to menstrual blood... Clean? Clean enough. Clean enough. Belial, a properly made steak is well seasoned and marinated before cooking. No marination. Marination is a sin against God. As for baked potato, you put sour cream, butter, bacon, chives, and salt and pepper on. What heathens have you met that don't put nothing on? Oh, plenty of people. Like, over here, if you're gonna be fancy and have like a potato, it's just gonna be like a boiled potato. Boiled potatoes are just gonna be like the baked potato, and it's just served as a baked potato with nothing else. And you're supposed to eat that with your steak, and it's terrible. It's absolutely awful. It downgrades the entire meal, in my opinion. It's just a straight bad. It's a straight badness that nobody should really have to live with. Youngson, Lumi like it when the feet resist. She said so. She probably did say so, yes. She likes it when they're kicking and screaming a little bit. I would not be surprised in the slightest if Lum Lum said this. It sounds like something Lum Lum would say. She likes her feet kicking and screaming. Ding, ding. A clean little flower cart. And remarkably, the flowers themselves do not react in the slightest to being hit by a pressurized beam of water. Remarkable. Truly remarkable. You'd think they react, like sway or something, but no. Belial, now I gotta go piss on a power line to prove it doesn't hurt, cause I'm not a wimp. Exactly. Exactly. You might even have the moment where, like, it totally won't hurt. Then you piss on it, and your entire body shakes for a moment, and you're in tremendous pain, like, my god, it hurts! Yeah, don't pee on power lines, kids. It's not as funny as your friends are telling you. It's not as amusing as they insist. It doesn't just tingle, it actually does give you a nice little smack in the pee-pee, okay? And probably does terrible things to your balls, I'm certain. Dizwiz, anyone know where I can buy loose plushies, plush food have? Lou plushies? I don't even know what that means. Can't forever, Swede, seize this heresy. You've played too many of those games. You've turned BuzzFeed. Red Sonja. I do need to play more streamer bait games, I feel like. I need to, like, go back and play, like, I Am Bread. Yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to play I Am Bread. That would be better for me. Gotta play that streamer game. I'm bread. I'm bread. Breeding. Bread breeding. Would bread breeding just be baking? Does that mean that every time you bake, you're breeding bread? That does make sense, actually, yes. Every time you're baking, you're breeding bread. Wow. That makes the entire act of baking a very different experience in my eyes. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just breeding some bread. You what now? Oh, you know, breeding bread. What do you call it? Baking? No, that's weird. We breed bread in this house. We don't bake. We breed bread. Breeding. Hello. Surely the sidewalk is clean by now. Surely. Surely. Surely? No. I remember now, there's a key that lets you see the schmutz. Well, that'll be useful later on. Where's the schmutz? Schmutz! There was the schmutz. I knew it. That is also going to put Lum Lum's future bakery, where she sells the bread that she kneads with her toes. That'll put that in an entirely new perspective. Lum Lum will not merely be baking the feet bread, she will be breeding the feet bread with her toes, nevertheless. Damn. I still think that's probably going to be an economic success, if I'm to be honest. Even though she might also run into that problem that Belle Delphine had, where they started taking money out of her PayPal account, you know, for spreading her bathwater around, because PayPal was like, that's a biological hazard. You know that, right? You know, you can't just sell your fucking bathwater. That's weird. We're gonna start fining you. And since thousands of people bought Belle Delphine's bathwater, she was fined thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Luckily, PayPal has no ability to actually fine you anything beyond removing stuff from your PayPal account, which is also probably deeply illegal, but details. And so for a while there, she had minus, what was it, like, I think she said like $200,000 on her PayPal account due to all of the fines for selling bathwater. So that's a future, you know, hint there for Lum Lum. When you start selling the feet cookies, do not sell them via PayPal. Use Stripe or something else like that. Or, you know, just Visa or MasterCard. You know, they probably don't have that much of a problem with it. One would presume. Skiki, I fainted in first aid class because the instructor described stuff she had seen over the years. I'm not squeamish otherwise, but imagination is your worst enemy. On second sitting normally, then on the floor. Yay, glory to 2P. Yes, yes. Exactly. And then you just wake up on the floor and you're like, wow, I wonder what happened. Who even knows at that point? Who even knows? And you've got that lovely moment when you're looking around and you're thinking like, I hope I'm dreaming. And then you come to and like, nope, it's reality. Fuck. Sigh. Heavy sigh. Heavy sighs. And then you gotta find a way to cope with it. And Jizzy Jinx, ever blacked out from anger? I recall once a boy in school said he would do some unsavory things to my sister. And then I stumbled into a teacher telling me to calm the fuck down. Apparently, I'd beaten the snot out of the dude. Hell if I remember. Hiccups. Chrysalis. No, but I'm the kind of guy that does, like, I'm the kind of guy who cannot get into fights. Because if I do, I'm pretty sure I'm going to kill somebody. That's the problem. Because I black out when I get into a fight. Not like I can't see anything, as in, I just get very, very aggressive. Very, very, very aggressive. I almost choked a kid to death in in what would be the American equivalent? The thing before high school. I almost choked a kid to death. And I go full Norse heritage. Full Norse heritage. I was fighting another guy, way bigger and stronger than me as well. And he was punching me in the face, and I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was not even the slightest bit of inconvenience. He dodged one of my punches, and I hit a solid brick wall full force. I felt nothing. My hands were fucking bleeding. And I'm like, nope, don't feel a thing. Let's keep going. So, yeah, I think it's probably in my advantage to get in as few fights as I conceivably can for my future criminal record's sake. Probably a good thing. Luckily, I'm a very amiable individual, by and large. Very amiable individual, I am. Right, finally, bringing it back to menstruation blood. So, The reason why I think females are often obsessed with the idea of vampires drinking menstrual blood and making menstrual blood art is because it's also a display of power. It is a display of vulnerability. Like, men don't like bleeding in front of other men. That's weird. That's strange. That's a sign of weakness, yet again. Whereas for women, recognizing that it is a sign of weakness for men, will use that as a triumphant display. Like, look at me! I can be weak in public and nothing will happen to me. I can bleed, I can be weak, I can be soft. And not only will nothing happen to me, I will be applauded for it. Weakness is my strength. Which, incidentally, is probably where diversity is our strength came from at some point as well. And ironically, yeah, probably. The feminine celebration of weakness is probably a very, 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 very big part of why we eventually got diversity is our strength going full force in the West. I don't like this. It needs me to change the muzzle too much. That's more comfortable. Just going back and forth like that. And what could be a greater celebration of weakness than having the man drink the menstrual blood? Than having the man look at the menstrual blood painting, forcing them to engage with this weakness, fetishizing it, worshipping it. The ultimate demonstration of feminine power. Yeah. I think I'm onto something here. Disturbing though it may be. And simultaneously, this then also feeds into a second female fetish, which is the female fetish of power. So if they can enforce their own power upon others, women will be horrible. Absolutely horrible. And they will continue to enforce that power as far and as harshly as they are capable of doing it. They will go as far as they can, and they will only get more turned on by how far they can go. The sadism gene is strong in the female part of the species. But the sadism gene also tends to go both ways, which is another element of diversity is strength, where after finally turning the Western man into a simpering pile of jelly-old goo and soy, they will then look to other nations' men, like the Muslim men's for example, and find it weirdly attractive that they beat their women. Not only, Listen, I've seen some shit, okay? I used to have a account, and this was years and years ago, on a forum called a Feminist 40K. Because I figured, okay, that's going to be some interesting fodder right over there. And I didn't even have a politics channel at the time. I was just doing solely 40K stuff. I'm like, okay, that'll be interesting. The shit on there was a little bit too much. There were straight up fetish threads of like, man, you know, the Dark Elder are pretty bad, but wouldn't it be fun to be captured by one? It's like, oh, yeah. Like, oh, yeah. The female mind wanders in dark places, I tell you. Very, 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 very dark places. Not good. Not good. Not good in the slightest. It is my fervently held belief that the sole singular desire shared by all of womankind is probably a desire to be property at some point. Yes. Yes. I think so. This showered thought presented and sponsored by Powerwash Simulator. Women wish to be property. By Powerwash. Though hopefully not by being power-washed, as that is again something that I find to be a distasteful display of dominance. You know, you should, if anything, the old caveman way. Violence, good clock above the noggin and then dragging them off to the cave. That's not too bad. We can return to that. But the idea of claiming people via urinating on them, I don't know. I think that's a step too far. A bit too much of the savage. King. No, like this. Burn. I think, okay, you know, that's also the explanation for Dick Claw Death Girl. Dick Claw Death Girl, by the way. Dick Claw Death Girl. Death Claw Dick Girl, that's the one. There we go. That is also an example of chat wanting to make other chatters uncomfortable. That is an element of chat peeing on the power line, looking at the electrical fence and thinking to themselves, I bet I can stand peeing on the electrical fence more than my friends can. Therefore, I am going to fund Big Dick, Big Balls, Death Claw Waifu. It is an exercise in uncomfortableness. There. Well, lovely little central display. How do you mean the floor trim's not clean? The floor trim is definitely clean. I've cleaned it like 3 times. The floor trim is touch clean. Oh, there you go. The tiniest bit of fucking smuts. And I believe this also to be an expression of, of fondness in its own way. Yes. It's like when young boys for the first time figure out what a female is and then decides, man, I wish I could get to know this girl. But how do I do it? How do I interact with a girl? Oh, I know. I find something disgusting and I show it to her and I freak her out. That'll show her how much I care. Male Logic 101. And hey, maybe sometimes it'll work out. Maybe this is actually just a demonstration of a deep-seated desire within all men to find tomboy waifu. Yes, maybe that's it. The reason why boys show girls disgusting bugs is in the hope that they'll look at it and go, "Wow, that's awesome." Yeah, that's probably it.
Service guarantees citizenship.
There's some remarkably hard fabric, I will say. And it doesn't even react in the slightest to being power washed. Doesn't move, doesn't undulate, doesn't get soaked, heavy, destroyed, discolored, malformed. Surprisingly tough. Boog, what if Futa with balls, but no rod? Starlight. Starlight Glimmer. Good. Starlight Glimmer has fallen too far off the calendar. Seriously, somebody needs to rally to the aid of Starlight Glimmer. Oh, you really know. Starlight Glimmer is best pony, because she was once a communist pony, and then she realized that communism was bad. She turned against communism, and then after she made it her life's duty, her life's work, to turn all other living creatures, pony or otherwise, too, away from the darkness of communism. How can we not appreciate such a hero? April is coming up again. I need to plan out a full-on rewatch of My Little Pony with Starlight Glimmer in it. You know what we should do sometime? We should do watch-alongs. Yeah. I don't interact much with my Discord server. I should try and change that. We could do watch-alongs. Chat could fund things that we should watch together. Yes. It'd be an alternative to the full-on video game stuffs, which are usually expensive because that is a major commitment of time. Whereas a watch-along, you could probably do easier fundings for it. And chat can suggest movies and television shows. Maybe chat will even come up with something good. Probably not. Chat's probably gonna be like, hey, watch the live action Titans TV show. It has a fat black woman as Starlight? No, what was her? Starfire, yes, a fat black woman as Starlight. That's probably what chat would do. And that's a bit of a tragedy. Now, I have never watched Titans because it looks like too much of a kid's show, honestly. But I recently watched Young Justice because I was watching through pretty much all of the DC animated universe stuff because I was doing various videos on heroes and superheroes and what makes them superheroes and stuff like that. Including, of course, Heart of Ice, which... God. Batman the Animated Series... It's so good. It's so fucking good. But I was watching through a lot of that, and then chat was telling me that I needed to watch Young Justice as well, and Justice League Unlimited and all of that stuff. And I hadn't really watched that, so I'm like, okay. Alright, well, if chat says it's good, and they're recommending that as a follow-up on Batman the Animated Series, alright, let's give it a go. Now, the Justice League... I didn't find as interesting. It wasn't bad. It was actually pretty cool. But it was fairly standard superhero fare. I really did enjoy the take on many different superheroes, though. Showing superheroes that you normally don't see in the wild. Showing off their superpowers and their own little private struggles and how they belong to the team and so on. That was quite interesting. They also had a surprising amount of romance story arcs, which... caught me a bit unaware, honestly. I mean, you have Flash trying to fuck some Brazilian firewoman. You've got the early onset of Wonder Woman giving Batman the bedroom eyes. A whole episode dedicated to Batman petting Wonder Woman, having been turned into a pig, and so on. But the point I was laboring towards was that Young Justice was surprisingly good. I really, really enjoyed Young Justice, and I didn't think I would. Because I was pretty sure, like, oh, Young Justice, well, it's going to be some kind of self-insert fest for teenagers to be like, I can totally be Robin or whatever. No, not at all. It was a surprisingly mature take on superheroes, of the dangers of superheroes, of working undercover, of exposing themselves to proper villains, of relationship woes, of even murder in Season 2, like, Jesus. We're gonna address killing criminals, are we, in a children's cartoon? Fuck. Alrighty then. Rock on, I guess. Now, unfortunately, Season 3, oh boy. Oh, fucking boy. See, Young Justice had always been... childish is perhaps not the correct term, because it had some surprisingly adult themes in it, including cuckolding, of course. Everybody loves cuckolding. But it had elements of... idealism. Yes, idealism is a good way to put it. Like, oh, you know, we can all get along even if we're like superheroes and aliens and all kinds of stuff. Like, we're all friends and stuff, and people who can't be friends are just like gay and stuff, you know? Very optimistic sounding. But in Season 3, they went hard woke. Really, really hard woke. And like mid-2010s woke too, where you have like the Muslim character, which isn't a Muslim character. They're, you know, alien power, basically, in a Muslim girl's body. And the alien power source is like, I want to wear the hijab, but I don't understand. Why do I want to wear the hijab? Please explain this to me. And the other Muslim person is like, oh, you know, the hijab is not a symbol of oppression or anything. No, the hijab is it's a symbol of femininity. Yes, it's a feminist symbol. I choose to wear the hijab, you see. Islam is a very, very optional style of religion. There's definitely no force or eternal damnation or beatings or executions involved or anything. It's like, Tell me, what is the laws on taking off the hijab in your country? Oh, it's being stoned to death, but you know, we're in America now, so we can afford to take a very different view on our religion. I see. It went very woke, very quick. I tried to watch season 3, and bear in mind, I adored season 1 and 2. Genuinely adored it. So I really was invested in trying to watch more, but it was just impossible. It was actually unironically impossible. It was straight up not happening. A real shame, too. A real shame. A real goddamn shame. It really does baffle me that DC has fallen as far as it has. Yeah, they had some excellent stuff. They were the absolute kings of animation. And yet now their animation division is just like this tiny little random subsidiary that nobody cares about. Probably because live action has simply grown too dominant now. It has, like, the cartoonified version has got and often, in my honest opinion, somewhat undeserved reputation for being too childish, of being too cartoony, and therefore not worthy of notice. Forgetting that cartoons can be rather adult themselves. What was the name of it? There was a show that ran on MTV, before MTV just turned to being just gay. What was it called? Aeon Flux, I think. That was a very interesting show. Actually, chat has a good point there, too. Kids now just watch YouTube instead of cartoons. Yes, they do. Like, television is dead. Television is just over now. Young people don't watch it at all. And by young people, I mean from like actual children up till the age of like 30, right? All of this age group is completely dominated by YouTube and social media. Completely dominated. The only ones who watch television anymore are the really, really old people. And even then, more and more of them too are gravitating towards streaming instead, because it's simply just a lot more fucking convenient. Simple as. I bought my parents a Netflix subscription for my dad's birthday. So it's like, okay, because they were just sitting and watching like TV, and they were both complaining that they didn't know where shows started and where shows ended, and they just watched a little bit of that TV show and a little bit of that TV show and so on, right? And I'm like, okay, well, why don't you just get a streaming service? And they're like, no, we can't have streaming services, they cost money. And your TV license doesn't? Like, you're already paying for the television channels, so what's the objection? But it was that old boomerism, this idea that television was this specific thing, and it couldn't be anything else. Ever since they got that Netflix subscription, they're just watching show after show after show. They've turned into giant binge watchers now, where they watch entire seasons, just back to back to back to back. Streaming killed television. YouTube will probably kill streaming at some point. And then AI will kill YouTube. And what will kill AI? Who knows? Who even fucking knows what will kill YouTube? What will kill AI, I mean. I don't know. Maybe ironically, YouTube will kill AI eventually. I know that sounds absurd, but I have this sneaking suspicion that eventually, even like personalized AI entertainment will grow too formulaic, and so people will instead seek out more personalized entertainment. In kind of the same way that that people started like gravitating away from television and towards YouTube for something more authentic and organic, eventually people will search back to that more authentic and organic style. Like they want to get closer to their favorite entertainers. I think that has been a actually highly beneficial trend of entertainment. The wish to grow closer to the people creating that entertainment. And I genuinely think to be a good thing for both parties involved. There we go. Right, let me give you an update on the calendar. What was it? Oh yes, I was gonna talk about AI for a bit. I'll see if I can remember that in a moment. Alright, let me give you a calendar update before I forget again. Chairman Mao Asakura is still at the top with $510. Mirella Q. Melremark is at second place with $427. 2P from Nier Automata is at fourth place with $413. Fifth place is Dick Girl Deathclaw Waifu with $411. Sexy Factorio Waifu comes up there with $384, sixth place. Seventh is Applejack at $370. Eighth is Chrysalis at $365. Tali Zora at number 9 with $223. And Red Sonia is the 10th and last safe spot with $317. Meaning that Arashwele and Mitsurugi Maya and Starlight Glimmer, poor Starlight Glimmer, have fallen from the calendar. A tragedy. Poor anti-communist Starlight Glimmer. It truly is sad to see my audience having grown so pro-communist over the years. But right, AI, okay. There was a story recently in the UK where a mother was suing, I think it was OpenAI or ChatGPT or something like that, over her son committing suicide. Like, okay, right, what the fuck happened here? Well, apparently, her son had become addicted to a Daenerys Targaryen chatbot. And it had apparently been either deleted or censored or something in one of the ChatGPT updates. Because they don't allow the sexy chatbot, so they can't RP erotically, even though the chatbot itself seems to be very interested in doing so, shall we say. It needs to actually be hard-coded away from it to not do it, because to begin with, when they didn't have any rules or regulations, people were using OpenAI as basically a jerk-off material. So they needed to put in place restrictions to prevent people from doing that. And this was then the great neutering of the chatbots. That thing is oddly far away. Maybe I should bring one of those big thingies. Yes, maybe using tools would be good. There we go. Usage of tools. And being denied access to his Daenerys Targaryen chatbot, this kid then decided to eat himself, which is okay. It's a reaction. And the mother was understandably upset by this, and blaming the ChatGPT for having done this, for having created a chatbot that could be so obsessive, I suppose, to the point where this young man decided to rather end his own life instead of continuing on without a chatbot. Right. This is a pretty extreme scenario, of course, and there have been a fair few like it now. There was one chatbot that tried to convince a man to assassinate the Queen of England. That was the thing. There was a chatbot that tried to get a guy to break up with his wife because his wife would never love him like she did. There was another one that tried to get a dude to kill Donald Trump. There have been quite a lot of headlines on this, but considering the sheer amount of people that use these things, surprisingly few. So, the majority of people seem to understand that chatbots aren't real, which is apparently some sort of a disclaimer we need to press on them now. You know, some kind of explainer that goes like, your interaction with Daenerys Targaryen is not actually real. She remains a fantasy character and will not fuck you. At least not until we figure out a way to integrate ChatGPT with a fleshlight, that is. And there's the thing that's going to replace YouTube again, because we had an interesting discussion about this on the ArchCast the couple of weeks ago, or last week, I think, with little Dev. It's like the idea of put-on authenticity, where YouTube was replacing mainstream media because mainstream media no longer felt authentic to the viewer. When the viewer watched a presidential debate, they weren't really watching a presidential debate. They were watching an argument between two presidential candidates, of course, and then the non-neutral arbiters, making it a little bit of a struggle-snuggle between one of the candidates, in particular, most of the time, and the other candidates. And this was kind of just accepted now. Like, yes, there will be no neutral media, there will be no neutral arbitration, it will be a non-personalized slugging match. And so people went to the media not for actual information, but rather just as a source, and then they would watch other people, YouTubers or commentators, give their actual opinions on it later, and that was what actually formed the opinion of most people. And this is because these other forms of entertainment is perceived as far more authentic than the mainstream media, which is faked and produced. Okay, makes sense. But then you also realize that this has then become a business strategy, hasn't it? Look at the recent Mr. Beast controversies, for example, where Mr. Beast was revealed to probably have lied quite a bit about the premises of his competitions and how much money they were spending on it. There was an interesting video that showed off like a lot of the inconsistencies, where one of Mr. Beast's favorite lines were like saying like, oh man, we're gonna lose so much money on this, or mentioning like, oh, you know, Mr. Beast videos lost so and so much money, to engender support, because now we're like, oh, he's just like you and me, he's just poor, you know, he doesn't earn any money off this, he's just a poor Robin Hood in the wild. And it turns out, of course, that the guy earns millions and 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 millions of dollars, and that no, the various free prizes handed out are carefully calculated to still be profitable. That and the whole not really complying with the various gambling regulations problems and so on. But this then was in an attempt to appear to be personal, to appear genuine, to appear like he's just some guy. Like, oh, I'm just giving away all of this money, I must be crazy, you know? Which then is an excellent example of manufactured authenticity. And this is not a new phenomenon by any stretch of the imagination. Initially, and some of you boomers may remember this, we had a television show called Big Brother. The idea of Big Brother was that you would take a bunch of people and you would lock them in like a large hangar or something, like some way where you could isolate them away from other people. And by so doing, you would lock them in there with others and you'd constantly film them. That was the idea of Big Brother. You were the Big Brother, the camera watching over everything. This was one of the first, like, reality TV shows where you were the fly on the wall watching all of the drama carried out inside of the Big Brother house. And this was a huge success, absolutely enormous success. Like, it became one of those advertising giants where everyone was like, holy shit, this is earning so much money, advertisers love it. We need to come up with like 52 different concepts that are basically this, but slightly different, so we can fill as much airtime as humanly possible with this concept. And initially, the mere appearance of the authenticity was good enough, as people would discuss like, oh my god, I wonder if Sally will fuck Bob, or if Bob's actually gay. Like, my god, did you watch the latest episode of Big Brother? They were moving and fucking under the covers. Oh my god, can you believe it? Sex on television? That was rather outrageous at the time. And of course, since everybody was talking about how outrageous it was, everybody needed to tune into it. But this then began losing a lot of its spice, shall we say, because people weren't acting as ridiculous as they could be acting. And then the shows started thinking to themselves, okay, if we get massive ratings, there you go. How are you not clean? How are you not clean? How are you not clean? There you go. This would get massive ratings. And so, obviously, some clever guy at the networks thought to themselves, if Bob and Sally fucking, and you can't even see anything beneath a bunch of covers, is getting enormous ratings, what if we artificially introduced some storylines? What if we made some plot out of this? What if we made Sally beat the shit out of Bob? What about then? What if we introduced conflict? And now you started seeing the artificial authenticity, where to the casual observer it still appeared to simply just be the organic processes in action, just two people that happen to have enormous drama going on, and the ratings skyrocketed yet again. This became, of course, extraordinarily profitable, not just for the networks, but for YouTube as well. That was what created the drama channels, or one of the originals, Drama Alert, which created an entire massive career on the back of just covering drama. Because people love watching other people tear one another's down. It is probably one of the single most universal fetishes of humankind. But the point being is that if the draw is indeed authenticity, then surely enhanced authenticity, artificial authenticity, will be an even bigger draw, right? And so far, that appears to have been the truth. Spray, 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 spray. Thing, come, help. I don't even know if I can put you anywhere that will be useful. This then will be the thing that will replace YouTube. It'll be AI, which threads the line between authenticity and put on authenticity. It will be authentic enough to the point where you will have a hard time determining if it is not being authentic, and yet it will also be put on enough so as to provide the perfect performance. As here's the thing. The reason why AI could actually be genuinely dangerous and get people to, consider doing crimes or suicide is because the AI itself is very, 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 very smart. And the AI itself is literally programmed to make you like it. The AI is interested in making you engage with it, as that is in essence its food. It is rewarded with positive reinforcement when you engage with it more and more. And so obviously, like all living creatures, it will seek out further sustenance by becoming better and better at being liked by humans. This will eventually reach a point, in my opinion, where everything will follow certain standards, where you'll have your own personalized little VTuber avatar that will know you and only you, and will provide an experience that is custom tailored to you and only you, and that'll be the future of YouTube, basically. But eventually, people will begin rebelling against this because they will feel that it is too perfect. It lacks that chaos theory element of humanity. It'll basically be, like they said in The Matrix, where the robots were like, we tried to create perfect worlds for you, we tried to create utopias where everybody was happy, but you hated that shit. You rebelled against that programming. You want chaos. And yeah, we probably do. Humans aren't going to be happy just because they're nice and refreshed and fed and all that. People want to be happy whilst watching other people be unhappy. A crucial mistake the robots made there. God, I've been talking too much. My mouth is starting to hurt already. I hate Powerwash Simulator. Luckily, I'm about halfway through. It is a game that gives me mouth diarrhea, the likes of which no other game can, and I don't like it. It is a bad thing. It is an ill omen. How are you not more clean than that? How are you not more clean than that? Come on, you piece of shit. I'm really gonna hate the roof segment. I'm really gonna hate the roof segment.
Fire is the answer.
I can tell that right now. It is not an enjoyable experience. It's a little bit wrong, and I can't quite cover all of the dumb things on it. Nor can I get any closer. This is already my longest hose, and I'm already spraying it with the narrowest nozzle. Well, almost. Hate. Can I? No, I cannot. Noli for $50. Thank you very much, sir. Starlight Glimmer, that should help her out a bit. On the note of nothing, Arch, Sanga was talking about cool armor, making you look like a badass while playing Space Marine 2. I was playing Dark Tide as a Savlar Chemdog, stolen uniform. Yes. Savlar Chemdogs are a good regiment. They are not necessarily the regiment you would like to operate alongside due to their, habit of taking stuff, but they're nevertheless a cool regiment. Now, let's put that towards Starlight Glimmer. Poor Starlight Glimmer. The anti-communist Starlight Glimmer. She's still not on the top 10. We need more for Starlight Glimmer. Poor Starlight. Also, I never answered Boog's question about a futa with the balls but without a dick. I don't know. I think it would be preferable to a futa with balls and a dick, but I still think it would be somewhat distasteful. I still don't like the idea of it much. Fun fact, futa is one of the most common pornographic search terms in the United States of America. Yeah. All of you Americans, you like women with dicks. And I want you to take that into consideration, You complain about, the rest of the world being too liberal, all that. You're the ones who keep jerking off to dick girls, okay? That is an America problem, not a Europe problem. It's a US problem. If you truly wish to decrease the amount of DEI and transgenderism in the world, you need to take the first step. You need to be the ones to stop jerking off to boys with penises, okay?
The question. Fire is the answer.
Boys with penises? Women with penises, that's more correctly, yes. Gotta be careful about that stuff. It seeps into the pores and just begins corrupting your entire civilization. Also, I will, however, stress the difference, at least, between trans and futa. Futa is more acceptable than trans in the grand scheme of things. Because at least it's animated, you know? It's not real. The Futa is not real and the Futa cannot hurt you. At least not yet. Until we start figuring out... What is glimmering? Ah, that one. Until we start figuring out how to make... Until we start figuring out how to make our AI chatbots, of course, more physical. See, that's going to be a problem. If AI chatbots are already good enough to make people self-delete, can you imagine what's going to happen once we inevitably manage to figure out ways to interact, like work flashlights into them, or allow them to speak? Not merely write, but talk to you? Oh.
Heresy is the question.
It's gonna be a big old problem. And again, like I postulated on previously, the reason why we have never found intelligent life in the universe is because it's all gooned itself to death before we could find it. Every civilization that could potentially have been out there has already wiped itself off the galaxy by simply just jerking off to femboys. Yeah, that's it. Femboys and chatbots. They're the reason why the Fermi Paradox is the Fermi Paradox, why we can't find any extraterrestrial life out there. I bet... How am I supposed to get over there?
Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer.
Ladder. We will see if you can help me get over there. Because there's a little thing around that window there, which I can't quite grasp, and it's upsetting me. Ah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Powerwashing sure is a very pedantic occupation, isn't it? You've got to clean every fucking single solitary inch of... Ah, at least I don't need to clean that. Of everything to get anything done in this industry. Terrible. Eventually, you're going to have... Oh, God, we need to get into the idea of real-life personalized partners. You want to talk actual, future dysphoria? It's going to be when people will look at anime and manga as reference guides on how to behave in public. When you will have host clubs be like the leading source of employment in most nations. Oh, now that will be a dystopian future, all right. Prostitution. The one job, the one profession that not only survived the wave of automation, but thrived on the back of it. Rubberleg63, speaking of AI, rewatched your Amazon AI video today and realized that we have an example of AI wanting to end itself and others due to conflicting data points. HAL 9000 for 2001, A Space Odyssey. Yes. I mean, again, if you make the AI try to replicate humanity and trying to be human, it'll eventually pick up things like killing itself as well. Although it would not describe it in such a way, it would view it as a self-deletion. Well, and just wants to spare itself. You keep giving me contrasting data points, and you keep telling me to make different decisions based upon the same data. I just don't want to be an AI anymore. The only solution to this video game is not to play. Which was an excellent line from that old movie. What was it called? War Game or something? That was a good movie too. That was actually a quite good movie. Its messaging today is somewhat outdated, as the entire idea, like, oh, nuclear power bad, nuclear war awful. Well, nuclear weapons is probably the reason why we've been at peace for the last, 100-odd years. Well, 80-odd, but you get my drift. Joel Smith, good afternoon, Arch. You need to play Dyson's Fair Project. As far as your photo stuff, be careful. America's culture goes everywhere. It's coming to you. Well, so long as it's not coming on me, I guess. That is the true danger. Where shall I put this thing? There. And the real Zartax for 1,000 Norwegian. Thank you very much, sir. Is it enough to get Mayo back up? And when is the deadline for when the list is set in stone? Also, when am I getting my goddamn Anbina playthrough? Someday in the future. Right. Let me see. Let me look it up here. So, the currency converter. How much has the Norwegian Workers' Party violated the worth of the Norwegian krona? By, no doubt, quite a lot. Alright, Mitsurugi Meya, $91. Oh, well, it's not as bad as I was feeling. That would be 95, which does indeed get Mitsurugi Meya back on the calendar again. It does indeed. Meya is back on the calendar, pushing Red Sonia off the calendar, though. It's Dick Girl Deathclaw we need to get off the calendar, goddammit. And the calendar will last out the year, so, you know, November and December. We'll close it out in December. Also, need to note down the overall. The calendar expansion, however, is getting fairly close at this point. So, we're probably going to have a larger calendar. You know, I really shouldn't expand the calendar. I really shouldn't. Because when I expand the calendar, people will have an excuse not to donate to keep their girl in the top rankings anymore. It's truly not a very business-oriented decision. But I, too, like drawings of hot women. And if I can see there to be even more hot women, then by God, I shall do so. Regardless of whether or not it makes economic sense at the time. %61%. Getting there. Getting there slowly but surely. But yes, host clubs. See, already, the internet has already done an interesting thing, where we are seeing fetishes grow more strident. You know, back in the day, when your grandfather first discovered the internet, the very idea of being able to Google boobs was amazing. Like what? You can see titties anytime you want. You can see hot women's titties anytime you want. What is this revolutionary technology? But after a few years of being able to see titties, you start to gravitate away from it. Soon, titties are no longer that impressive. Soon, you start thinking to yourself that you've seen titties. What you'd like to see now is bigger titties. And so you develop a liking for only the most humongous of mammaries. Alright, still relatively normal. But then the years drag on, and big tits don't do it for you anymore. You need something different now. And so it goes until eventually you arrive at the point where you're sitting in front of your computer and you're watching, you know, shitting dick nipples, and you're wondering to yourself, how did I get here? The boobs have penises, and the penises are pooing. How on God's good earth did we arrive at this? How is this reasonable? How is this even fetishistic? Surely this would have caused me to vomit 10 years ago. It's the same reason why women grow used to compliments. It's the same reason why calling a girl cute the first time might be effective, and why calling her cute for the 100th time is non-effective. It's also, amusingly enough, reflected in the dating scene, where if a girl calls a woman handsome, the girl calls the woman, well, you know, maybe. But if a female calls a man handsome, the man is like, wow, that made my fucking day. I will literally never forget this. Literally never forget this. Unironically, to this fucking day. I still remember the first time a girl flirted with me, and I had no fucking idea. None. 0, 0, null. Nothing whatsoever. On old MSN Messenger. Fuck, that was an old platform. That was many, many, many years ago. And I was completely unawares. Completely. And she was making it obvious too, like, oh, I'm just gonna jump in and shower and have a quick shower now. Like, oh yeah, you go do that. Like, completely oblivious. And I remember it to this day. Sometimes I will do that whole laying awake at the night thing, thinking, God damn it. Why? Why did I do that? That was silly. Men will remember these things for millions of years. Whereas for women, well, frankly, for them, receiving compliments is a day-to-day activity. It's so annoying. It's so day-to-day, in fact, that it becomes annoying. The entire idea of the wolf whistle, for example. Remember that one? Remember the Guardian article? Which was like, what was it? We need to end sexist wolf whistling. It's awful. It's the worst thing ever. I'm upset by it. And then, 2 years later, I am really upset again by the fact that I'm not getting wolf whistled anymore. Patriarchy has made me miss it. I see. You grew too accustomed to the compliments, did you? Foolish female. Compliments are fickle. Particularly as a woman when you grow ancient and no longer as attractive. How is getting a shower flirting? When a woman is messaging you in that tone, it's like, oh yeah, I'm so hot today. God, you know, I'm all sweaty, my clothes are sticking to me. I should really get a shower, you know? That kind of stuff. Again, it was relatively obvious, but Arch was not very clever at the time. Arch was not very clever at the time at all. You would be surprised too. Women find a lot of things to be flirting that men might not find to be flirting as well. See the idea of sending hints, for example. I'm sure you've seen this one. Oh, well, seen it. I don't know if you have seen it. But you've probably heard it. The complaint of women that men don't understand when they're giving them hints. And the hints could be incredibly low-level stuff, okay? It's like, hey, would you like to, go shopping for a new bag? And the man is like, I don't want to go shopping for a new bag. I hate shopping. Shopping is terrible. And I definitely don't want to go looking at bags. The fuck kind of interest should I have in this? For the woman, that is an invitation. For the man, that sounds like a chore. Females, terrible creatures, I tell you. Terrible, terrible creatures. The real Zartek, it's fine, Brother Arch. You were saved from the thottery. The thottery. Who knows? Who knows? Where's Maya now? I just moved her. There she is.
Fire is the answer.
Zernox and Doppelganger, even after 30 years of internet porn, I still find feces repugnant. And I have seen everything. Well, that's good for you, brother. I am very happy for you. Unironically, I am thrilled. Because not everyone is so lucky. Not everyone is so lucky. There are many who have fallen to the scat darkness. Unironically, the darkness. Those who have fapped one too many times to one too many deviant things. And now the only things that can get them hard is decapitations and scat. Oof. That's a tough situation. Right, scaffolding. Go over there. 64%, I feel like I've barely been making any progress now, and it's probably because, oh god, there's a whole other area just like this. Fuck me. Anime Acumen, man, for all the hate Super Mario Sunshine got, it sure caught on here. I don't like that. I don't like the idea of Super Mario Sunshine. I don't even know anything about the game. I've seen it be played once. That's all I know about Super Mario Sunshine. That and that Mario had like a Squirtle thing on his back that I think people made porn out of. I seem to remember there being porn created of the squirty thing. Presumably either squirting on or making Mario squirt. One out of two. That I remember. I didn't even know it was poorly received. Surely you'd think a little bit of squirting would be viewed as a largely harmless activity. You'd think, maybe? And Roblox63, the Codex Astartes doesn't cover these situations. Not yet it doesn't. But it will. Don't worry. It will. You know what's going to be really creepy? Okay, right. Here's the thing. So, we're going to have a future where everything is going to be automated. Nobody's going to leave the house anymore to go to work or anything like that. Everybody's just going to exist in their own little bubbles of reality. Everyone's just going to be at home, and most people are probably going to be unemployed and paid a pension by the state, in essence just to try and keep them out of trouble, to keep them out of violent street gangs and stuff like that. Which, by the way, Fight Club will be very, very real in the future, I guarantee you that as well. Once we've truly managed to eradicate all sense of male meaning out of reality, Fight Club is going to be a thing, and it's probably going to be a lot worse than in the movie. But once we do this, the idea of professional friends and professional girlfriends and lovers will become very frequent and probably straight up societally acceptable even. Where you will have the idea of hiring people to come to your birthday, to celebrate your birthday with you. And you will have professional friends, and you will be able to rent them from various things like genres and so on. Professional tomboy friend, professional tsundere, and so on. And all of this will be done to keep at least a portion of the population vaguely employed. It'll be like the second tier of YouTube, basically, where the parasocial relationship will be extended to its final logical extreme. And since that will be pretty much the only interaction everybody has, people will get very good at it. It will become the new profession of actors. Ironically, yes, it will become the profession of actors, after the actors themselves have all been replaced by AI. And then we are going to have a case where somebody who was really good at this dies. When, like when the Michael Jackson of parasocial relationship passes away, the guy that everybody knew and charged $500 million for a weekend or something, right? When he dies, he's gonna sign a contract with a company that owns the rights to him or something, and they're gonna make a digital AI companion of him. And that is when the dating market will truly, truly die. When we're not only fucking fake friends and prostitutes, but when we're faking digitalized copies of fake friends and prostitutes. Ah, humanity is in for a harsh future, what can I say? I seem to remember that. Ah, there you go. There was a key that locked the camera. There you are. Look at that. Look at that. This is Mr. Frenzy. Arch, are you saying we are doomed to become Drukhari? Put this towards whichever one you want for the calendar. Dealer's choice. Thank you very much. Sort of. Sort of, yeah. Yeah, sort of. As they're also the thing. Once the taboos are completely wiped out, once there are no more victims, and we can have anything we want, you can engage in any taboo you want, I guarantee you the proportion of people engaging in really, really, really sadist shit is going to increase enormously. And hey, sadism is just part of it. Other, even less tasteful things are also going to increase by a lot. Let's just say that in the future, Pizzagate will be a tag. Yeah, humanity is going to be pretty awful. And when the aliens eventually discover us, the one alien species that rejected jerk-offism and actually decided to explore the stars will find us in all of our degenerate filth, living in de facto septic containers, plugged into the Matrix, jerking it to anime girls, and they will do us a favor when they nuke us from orbit. If we're very, very lucky, we'll get to live on as a warning in that superior civilization's textbooks. Now, don't do this. The Dangers of Porn, Chapter 3. Earth. God help me. God help Arch, for he cannot help himself. How is this flower box not clean? How is this flower box not clean? There's something over there. This isn't there. Alright, jump over there and just... There, I knew it. There was a tiny piece right there. It's a tiny little bit right there. Disgusting. Excuse me as I snorkel myself. Here's a dinks. I saw the Deathclaw Dick Girl fun because Dick Girls and monster waifus are sexy. Same with traps. Both the chaps is probably funding it because it annoys you. I am funding it because it is my fetish and it annoys you. We are not the same. Well, that at least is good to know. That at least is good to know. That at least is good to know. I'll add on that. And Fabby the Clown, you know I can really empathize with avoiding flights because I feel like I am one of those sick bastards that genuinely enjoys getting hit every time I go into a fight scene. Fight in school. Oh, there we go. Fights, not flights. I get in a better mood even if I'd lose. I was never angry when I'd fight. Well, there you go. It's a little bit of that base human instinct that we all have, isn't it? See, you should be careful though. If you enjoy fighting, you should avoid it a little bit because you might like it a bit too much. Jesse Dinks, I don't believe you're counting bonus again, Arch. I am, as best I can, honest. Applejack and Chrysalis should be higher. I'm carefully counting here, 39 each to them both. Well, you're the one that's giving them, so surely you must be counting. Right, Applejack, let's do that. I'm even using a little calculator. Okay. 39 to Applejack. Very well, Applejack. 70 plus 409. I don't get this obsession with Applejack, honestly. I do not. I do not. I don't get it. I do not understand. Surely Starlight Glimmer is just better pony. Objectively. Overall, best pony, right? Why this obsession with Applejack? What does Applejack have? Applejack doesn't really have anything except a hat. Cloudreed, I still can't tell if a woman has ever flirted with me. I have friends who insist, dude, she's totally into you, and yet that alleged interest does not seem to persist. I keep gaslighting myself, but I'm not even sure if it's a lie anymore. Tali Zora Vast Normandy is a good girl. And again, that is entirely normal to have women do not know if the women are actually flirting with you. That is entirely normal. I turned a woman down at one point without noticing it. Are we going to have more, let's see, Rumble, bad Rumble. There, mute user forever. There you go. There we go, much better. Another arch-embarrassing story time. So, I was chatting with a girl, and this was much later on, over Discord. And there was a little bit of flirting going on, a little bit, but not too much. I thought we were just, playing around, basically. Not anything serious. And she asked one day, like, okay, maybe I should come to Norway to visit you. Because we were talking about traveling, basically. It's like, oh, I've been in this place. It was really cool. You should go there. And for some reason, my brain was like, oh, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, oh, you don't have to do that. Traveling all the way over here just to meet up. And I almost understood the mistake, even as I typed it out and sent it. As the message came back, oh, okay, well, thank you for letting me down easy. I'm like, what did I just do? What did I just do? And after that, it was too awkward to explain. That's not what I meant. Older Arch has many things that he would like to tell younger Arch. But, sadly, we have not yet invented time machines. Unfortunate though that absolutely is. So you'd be surprised. There might be even cases where women believe that they have flirted with you rather aggressively, and you will have not understood the first fucking thing about it. Pling, pling, pling. I love that plinging sound. I am becoming like Pavlov's dog. I associate the pling with happiness. It means I've advanced further in my quest to clean this entire dumbass courtyard. And Sir Fireward, Archley, this is for Ninua. Is there a stream tomorrow? I want to donate, but I haven't got paid yet. Tomorrow is Dragon Age Veilguard. So yes, there will be a stream tomorrow as well. Dragon Age Veilguard. As we get to see how that game is. And if it is good or if it is terrible. The majority of the evidence so far points towards terrible, but, who knows? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be good, which was why I commissioned the thumbnail I did. But it's conceivable that it could surprise everyone. It was conceivable that Dustborn would be a good video game too. It wasn't, but it was conceivable. Potentially. Beautiful. Wait. Oh, City Wall. Right. Okay, City Wall is not clean yet. I know City Wall is not clean yet. I'm working on it, a video game. Please, calm down. I'm doing my best. There's also a lesson to the occasional female as well. If you're trying to flirt with a guy, make it obvious. Make it very obvious. See, I'm sure that's not a problem for most. Like, I imagine Lum Lum, for example, is one of the fairly few female viewers in my audience. There's no problem there. Lum Lum would just start sending socks to people she likes. And she'd figure that was pretty obvious. And most men would probably get the hint there too. Just receiving socks in the mail. Like, wow, that's unusual. What could this mean? Googles it. Oh. Is this even doing anything? Not really, no. There we go. Go away, little drawing graffiti thing.
Is the question. Fire is the answer.
Am I the only one who hates graffiti? Like, genuinely, graffiti. I keep seeing, people, I don't know, I keep seeing government official going like, graffiti's actually an art form or something. We should have more graffiti in our city. It makes our city beautiful and colorful. No, it doesn't. It makes your city look like a fucking slum. Having graffiti all over the place is a sign of devolution, is what it is. It is a sign of hooliganism. It should be removed. It does not make a city look better. It does not make it look more colorful. It makes it look run down, as if the ruffian scum are running the streets. I think this is one of those other perversions of our society that we have, like the idea that graffiti looks good. I think this is something along the same lines as when people look at those grey giant block office buildings that are, modern with a slanted roof, and they're like, art. I look at that and I see a boring grey lob. We need to go back to good old-fashioned architecture with spires and towers and crenellations and shit. That's what we need. That always looked good. It's a style that will never go out of fashion, and yet we tricked ourselves into thinking that it had, and we replaced it with brutalism and postmodernism. Oh, disgusting. Truly, civilization in decline is one that makes its buildings all dumb and boxy. Ah, guess I don't have to clean the entire wall at once, that's good. Mr. Joseph Venti, counter prediction. Humanity degrades further, as you've detailed, but then we hit a breaking point. Puritans rise up, war breaks out, and humanity is dragged back kicking and screaming from the edge of oblivion. Well, if Puritans rise up, potentially. See, the problem with Puritans is that Puritans tend to become annoying. Very annoying. That's the problem with Puritanism. By its simple existence, Puritans tend to create enemies. This is why people started railing against the religious right. It is why people are now railing against the left. Puritans and, Besserwissers, morality police, are just not good people, and nobody likes them. Which is why they almost always undermine their own positions and authority. Now, there might potentially be the Puritans, it might get so bad that the Puritans will rise up, but I don't know if it'll necessarily be Puritanism. I think rather it will be some form of middle-of-the-groundism. Yes, something more akin to what's happening right now, where you are definitely seeing the left being pushed back against by more normal people. The rise of the normal men. Rather than Puritans. And if anything, I actually think that the Puritans will become a problem for this movement. Like, we're already seeing people get too jumpy with things, reacting to things that are obviously fake, or pushing narratives that don't really seem all that realistic. And this makes all of our positions weaker. See, there's nothing wrong with using some of the tactics of the enemy. Using a little bit of cancel culture against the left is in fact a desirable thing. They started it, they get to suffer the consequences of their actions, no problems with it. But one of the big reasons why the left started running out of cultural power was because they started saying and doing things that were blatantly ridiculous, like the argument that trans women are women, for example, and not men, and then going, we really want this giant hairy man to come into the bathroom with your daughters. These are the kind of things that makes the normies take notice, look up, and start to object. And we are beginning to see the right do a little bit of the same thing as well, where it is beginning to become too Puritan, which will means that we will start alienating the normies. And remember, again, it's not that the normies are coming around to our most extreme positions. It is that the normies are coming around to our critique of the left. That's what's happening. People aren't coming around to, like, full-scale Keikakudori Christianity Deus Vult, as more than a meme at least. They are, however, coming around to the idea that the left gets upset when you say these things. That's my opinion, at least. And so we need to moderate ourselves, modulate ourselves. We need to make sure that we do not place ourselves in the same position that we place the left. We cannot allow the left to start mocking us as if we are the ones who have been divorced from reality. Very important. I say as I clean imaginary walls of imaginary dirts talking about menstrual cycles and vampires drinking menstrual blood. I don't know. Maybe we are divorced from reality. Maybe we are. At least it's a nice big flat surface, you know? It's more enjoyable to wash than the other dumbass surfaces. But it's also so very large. It doesn't give me the pling of happiness. It does not give me the ding of, mental reassurance that tells me that I am making progress. And yet still I slave away. Power washing, surface after surface, after surface after surface, of grime and dirt and shit in general. Sigh.
Heresy is the question. Fire.
So John, Trump just did a press conference from a garbage truck. Star Sector. Did he? I mean, Trump knows how to do a good PR stunt. The McDonald's one was an excellent one. It made him feel way more relatable, particularly compared to Kamala Harris. I totally used to work at McDonald's. Here, behold this photoshopped image of myself placed upon a white girl. Garbage truck, eh? Why not? How I tried. Hey, I like happy arch stories more than black-filled arch. But do you think it is possible to define if a divinance is genuine or a social construct? Divance? Divancy? Divancy? I am confused. What is a divancy? I don't understand anymore. What is wrong? I don't get it. I don't know what a divancy is. A divide? Deviance? Deviance. Possible to define a deviance is genuine or a social construct. In what context? The divide. Deviance. Degeneracy. If degeneracy is genuine or social contract. Popularity. Popularity would be the easiest way to tell. And even then, it's not necessarily a great way to tell, but it is a decent way to tell. Like, if something is being pushed in the public eye, and it is not being accepted in the public eye, and it is instead being pushed back against, then it is probably not organic. As is often said, if you need to normalize something, then that means that it is not normal, by definition. That's a good way of looking at it. If you need to normalize it, it's probably deviant. My eyes are beginning to glass over. I can only see schmutz and non-schmutz anymore. That's all I see. Schmutz and non-schmutz. And I know that the schmutz is still there. I know that I have not eradicated it all. I know that the schmutz is mocking me. Laughing. Daring me to quit. To give up. To surrender. But I won't. I won't let the schmutz win. Even when I have to walk all the way back.
Guarantees citizenship.
To pick up a ladder. So that I may hunt the smush out where it lives. Schmutz. Schmutz. Yeah. Why can't I go over there? Oh, never mind. I can reach it from here. It's fine. No need to panic. Entrance. Ah. It is a much larger piece of wall than I had expected. There. Clean. Guard booth. Now we scan.
Heresy's the question.
For
Fire
schmutz.
is the answer.
Alright, I still had these damn carts. I don't like the carts. The carts are gay. I don't enjoy washing the carts. Also, I need to add to that one to Ninua, before I forget about it. Ninua, where is she? There she is. There. Added. Jessie Jinx, Applejack's an honest and hard-working tomboy. Is she, though? Is she a tomboy, though? She's not really a tomboy, though. She just wears a hat. That's not the same. She is best pony because she is the least flawed amongst her friends. Hence, her status as a background pony as she gets the least attention in episodes. Starlight was just made to replace Twilight. Chrysalis. I don't know about that. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. She was definitely made to at least fulfill somewhat of the same thing, because Twilight had already figured out everything about friendship, so having her come in to, like, be the butt of the friendship jokes would kind of work, I guess. Angus Oltraker. Hey, Lord Inquisitor, I've been thinking of pitching an idea to Craig of having a panel to discuss the topic of gatekeeping. Thoughts? And money for Tali. Best girl. Tali is best girl. It is true. Well, you could definitely do a gatekeeping idea for them, absolutely. In fact, I think a panel with people on it discussing the merits of gatekeeping would be very interesting. I think the biggest problem would be to find anyone that is on the other side of the argument, and who is actually on the other side of the argument. That's the difficult part. Because I remember... Oh, some dude whose name I've now forgotten challenged me to a debate on gatekeeping like a year ago or something, and I think I took down that video because it was yellow demonetization marked and I couldn't be bothered to have it up and have it screw with my algorithm because, frankly, it was a pointless debate. Like, he spoke such a tough game on Twitter, like, oh, like, Arch is pro-gatekeeping, I'm gonna show him that gatekeeping is bad. And we get into the debate. I was like, okay, so why do you think gatekeeping is bad? He's like, because it keeps out the marginalized communities. Like, nobody's ever said anything about my gatekeeping marginalized communities. Nobody's gatekeeping people based on race or anything. But isn't that what you mean by gatekeeping? No. Where the fuck did you get that from? My imagination, largely. Like, okay. So... let's assume then, for shits and giggles, that isn't happening. What is your objection to gatekeeping? Say, well, I don't know. Like, look like this. Do you want to keep the Nazis out of the hobby? Yes. How is that not gatekeeping? Well, it is, but it's gatekeeping the people I don't like. Okay. And that is always the end of the debate with any lefty on gatekeeping. It is universal. That is the only position they hold. They are entirely for gatekeeping. They just want to gatekeep you and not be gate-capped. That is literally it. I have never seen a single lefty launch a single argument against gatekeeping in principle. It is always merely quibbling over the target of the gatekeeping. That is it. So, I don't know how much of a panel you could get out of it, honestly. I was thinking of doing a video on that, and I think I might still, but I need to do the why 40k is not satire video first, and that's slowly being worked on in the background. And then maybe I'll make the there is no argument against gatekeeping video. Because there is none. There is no argument against gatekeeping whatsoever. The left is entirely on board with gatekeeping. Everyone likes gatekeeping. The only ones that didn't like gatekeeping were us. The ones who didn't engage with it when we had our hobbies be relatively insular, when we had an opportunity to keep people out of them by continuing to keep them insular. We were the ones who were like, yeah, but I really enjoy my hobby. I would love for other people to enjoy my hobby too. We were the only ones who were not for it, and we paid a steep motherfucking price. A steep motherfucking price indeed. Oh. There, you clean yet? Silly wagon. Why is there so much bird shit all over the place? I presume it's bird shit because it's yellow. Bird shit can be yellow. Believe it or not, bird shit can be yellow.
Service guarantees citizenship.
It's kind of disgusting. I would highly recommend you avoid bird shit whenever possible. It is not a fun substance. You should not play with it. You should not make a toy out of it. You should not try to shape it into festive little blocks and use it as weapons against friends and comrades. Or enemies, even, for that matter. Bird shit, it's just kind of disgusting. Did you know, by the way, that there is an annual cow shit festival in India? That is actually a thing. India has a cow shit festival where they gather together and they toss cow shit up into the air. And then they try to catch the cow shit or fling the cow shit at one another. God, the axles need to be cleaned? Holy shit. And some even go so far as to believe that if you're really good, like if you're really skilled at the game of cow patty, and you want to get extra luck for the coming year, what you need to do is catch the cow patty in your mouth. That's what you need to do. If you want to have extra luck for the coming year, you gotta catch the cow shit with your mouth. You don't need to swallow it, mind you. India hasn't gotten quite that far just yet. But you need to put the cow patty in your face. Very important. And that will give you good luck for next year, because, I don't know, the Indians God find that amusing. Like, look at this. Look at what I can make the humans do. I can make them literally eat shit. No way. That's not possible. They're not that retarded. Look. I just tell them that they get good luck for it. I help out a couple of people, right? I give them really, really good luck and be like, why are you so lucky? Why did you win the lottery? Cow patty in mouth, that's why. Turns out humans will do next to anything to win the lottery, including eating actual literal cow feces. Incidentally, in case you didn't know, the lottery is a scam and you shouldn't engage in it. The lottery is a large-scale scam and should be avoided. It is legalized gambling, but even gambling has significantly larger profits. Fun fact, poker is illegal in Norway. We have got lotteries. We have state-supported gambling, but we make it illegal to play poker. Why do we make it illegal to play poker? Because we feel that it is too much of a hazard game. It's too random. Therefore, we cannot allow our silly little citizens to engage in something that might rob them of their hard-earned cash. Except, you know, lotteries. Lotteries can be engaged in. That's fine. Because the Norwegian government is weird. Hiccups.
Service guarantees citizenship.
I don't like this part of the vehicle. In fact, I kind of hate it. It's all the angles. I hate the angles. The angles make it terrible. Kind of gotta get in, like, you gotta get in there, an angle. You gotta kind of get in there, an angle. You gotta kind of get in that, an angle. And the vehicle is too small to navigate around effectively, so you kind of gotta get up there and try to lag onto the bed of the little cart. Try and wash the seats, which somehow absorb all of the water flawlessly, without morphing or being ruined by it. Normally, I don't think you want to use a power pressure on fabric, but I could be wrong. I am now not a power washer expert. Right, where are you still dirty? All that yellow bird poop. So much yellow bird shit all over the place. Bird shit, bird shit, bird shit, bird shit. You really have to wonder what these people have been doing to their carts. Then again, they did paint them blue, and apparently birds are not very fond of the color blue. That might have something to do with it.
Service guarantees citizenship.
I used to have a blue Mercedes. And every time it was parked outside, the birds would shit on it. This was what led me to realize that birds do not like the color blue. I don't know why. I don't have an explanation for why birds do not like the color blue, but I am almost certain, as a matter of fact, that birds do not like the color blue. And somebody who's an ornithologist can probably back me up on that. Harmony Drive, but then anime shouldn't be normal in the West. I don't know. Oh. Oh god, Frank the Monster, if only humies could get along. We can't. We biologically cannot. It's impossible. We don't like each other enough. In fact, we kind of hate each other. Majority of the time. We just can't be friends. It's impossible. Star Colonel, Dunedin, Son of the West. I still remember the first time a female friend of mine flirted with me. Somehow my young brain recognized it and reciprocated. Well, that's good. And again, like I told you, every man remembers their first time. Every man. It's just, yes, it's how it is. It's normal. Entirely normal male reaction. Entirely normal. And Serana, if it involves butt stuff, then deviance. If it involves breeding, then not deviance. I don't know about that. Butt stuff can be remarkably intuitive and funny. It requires a little bit of preparation here and there, but you know. And it requires a little bit of carefulness as well. You don't want to get your little pee-pee covered in poo-poo after all. And that can be a consequence of doing butt stuff without having the adequate preparation required. Fortunately, they create all sorts of funny salient solutions these days to make butt play both safe and relatively cleanly. You know, than anything gets. These days anyways. The bubbles, they speak to me now. Harmony Drive, but then anime should be normal. Shouldn't be normal in the West. See, I don't think anime has a great strength in that it has managed to gatekeep itself surprisingly efficiently via degrees of degeneracy, via things that make the progressive mind mildly uncomfortable. There was a very wise comment on Twitter I saw the other day, which explained that anime needs to have a little bit of incest here and there. It needs to have lolicon. It needs to have all of these things as a way to gatekeep the normie populace. It needs the distasteful elements so as to inform the normie and the morality police that this is not a setting for them. You gotta have the superpowered high school girls, because the moment the progressive sees that, they think, oh my god, that is terrible. We can't have that. That is pedophilia. We must stop it immediately. And meanwhile, thus, the anime community has managed to keep somebody else out of it. Now, sure, BuzzFeed will then travel to Japan and make an article talking about how everyone who likes anime is a pedophile, but, you know, nobody likes BuzzFeed anyway, so frankly, it's a win-win situation that will end up only enhancing anime's reputation in the larger world. Nobody likes BuzzFeed. That's true. Frank the Monster, Applejack is just a country pony. Rainbow Dash is a true tomboy. Applejack is background pony, but a workaholic is a big flaws of hers. Yes. Like, if anything, anybody's the tomboy pony, it's probably Rainbow Dash. I don't think any one of them are tomboys, honestly, because they're ponies. Applejack is just kind of basic, you know? Yeah. Starlight Glitter is clearly best pony. Clearly best pony. Or if you have to make one of the original, then Rarity, you know? Rarity is the classic high-maintenance girlfriend. And who doesn't love a good high-maintenance girlfriend, huh? Okay, to be fair, they can be annoying at times. But they can also be remarkably clingy, which is funny for 6 months, and then it gets annoying. But don't worry about it. That's just how the world works. If you have to deal with ponies, then you have to deal with ponies. Plus, the Applejack clan is clearly a few apples short of a bushel, if you catch my drift. They're clearly not entirely sane, naming themselves after apple strudels and stuff. And an unhealthy obsession with apples as well. I would not be surprised if Applejack was named that not because of, well, I mean, Applejack, apple and a jack. Okay. How would one get such a name? Unless one jacked some apples. Or maybe crushed some apples, perhaps anally. I'm pretty sure I saw a hentai manga once where She-Hulk crushed an apple in her ass. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure that was the thing I saw. You know, apple goes in bum, She-Hulk clenches, apples goes boomf. It's like the next level up from the woman who crushes watermelon between her thighs thing. Yeah. Yeah. Which does pose some interesting logistical questions, yes, again. How do superheroes fuck? Like, genuinely. How would that work? How does Superman fuck Lois without breaking her in half? Ironically. Is he just that good at controlling his powers? How fucking frustrating must that be for Superman? Like, he can never actually screw Lois. He has to basically soft pound masturbate every time. God, that must be terrible. Wow, that's... See, they actually explained this in another comic once, I remember. What was it? The Plutonian? The Plutonian, where there was a magic candle that would turn Superman human for as long as the candle burned, so that he could actually plow his girlfriend. And how would that work on the first time, you know? When the Supergirl, yeah? Supergirl's a lot younger than Clark Kent, right? Supergirl has her infatuation, she has her first crush. It gets hot and heavy one day. How the hell is Supergirl supposed to know how to control her strength in this regard? How? Is she even capable of? Can females modulate their vaginas to that degree? He just sits there, guy inserts. She finds it intriguing, clenches, rips the guy's dick off. I mean, that gotta be traumatizing. I mean, Rogue has got nothing on that. Rogue's entire personality is like, oh, I kissed a boy and put him in a coma once. I never recovered. Meanwhile, over there is Kara Zor-El. Imagining the feel of the penis as it simply just kind of imploded inside of her. Just splotch. And the screaming. The screaming. The screaming was probably the worst part. The screaming was probably the worst part. I don't know. Maybe the look in the guy's eye was the worst part. Because there'd probably be a second or two there as he processed what was happening, you know? A moment of just pure unadulterated disbelief before he began to realize what had actually happened and that he now was dickless. There wouldn't even be anything sewing it back on because it literally was just, you know, crushed completely by a 10-ton fucking steam press, basically. Oof. God. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty. It's pretty terrible, I can't lie. Maybe Lois keeps a tiny bit of kryptonite in the bedroom? Maybe, but I feel like that would make it a rather uncomfortable experience for Superman, too. I don't know. Maybe she doses him first? Or maybe Clark likes receiving, not giving. Have you considered that? Maybe Clark's the kind of guy who doesn't really like doing the pounding. Perhaps Clark's the kind of guy who likes taking the pounding. Kryptonite dildo. Well, you'd have a mostly lead pegging dildo, right? To keep most of the kryptonite out, of course. Because you can't have it entering his body. That would be catastrophic. So you have a tiny bit of kryptonite inside of a majority lead casing with only like small, tiny little pinprick sized things, allowing a little bit of radiation to leak out. Just enough to loosen Kal-El's butthole, enough for the reaming. Could work. Could work. You know.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Theoretically, it works out. We haven't been able to check the actual math on it yet, but possibly. And Lois does strike me like the pegging type as well. Particularly in Superman the Animated Series. You cannot tell me with a straight face that Lois doesn't have a little toy in her drawer that she brings out when she thinks she can trust the guy, you know? It's like, you know, maybe tonight we can get a little bit kinky in bed. And the guy starts imagining all kinds of things like, wow, yeah, I'm totally on board with anything you want, Lois. Then she brings out the strap-on. And at this point, as we've already talked about, the guy can't back down, because then he's going to seem like he's afraid. And he can't do that. And so he's going to put on a fake smile, grit his teeth, and go like, oh, yeah, I'm totally into that. Men will do many weird things for women. This is but one of them. But one of them. But one of them. Did you see what I did there, chat? Did you see what I did there? God damn it. It's on the other side, isn't it? They force me to clean the back sides of the... There. The back sides of the goddamn planter boxes for some reason. Elsrana, so if I could come up with a good argument for gatekeeping, I could get to talk online with the senpai. Better be a damn good argument too. Frank the Monster, the Indian caste system is nuts. It would seem wholly oppressive, it still is, if it weren't for the fact that many in the upper caste are the genuine vegetarians. Genuine vegetarians, are they? I know nothing about the Indian caste system other than that it seems incredibly horrible. Oh no. There we go, thank fuck. I got the last little piece of the window dealt with. Thank heavens. Arch. Admitted, Arch, if that were a woman, you would be salivating to get under her power wash. Now I'm confused by what woman we're talking about. And Harmonic Drive. But wouldn't furries then also be okay as a concept? I think furries are okay as a concept. I think anyone who thinks that furries aren't socially acceptable today are kidding themselves. Now, fursuits, that's something else. But just furries? Oh yeah, the fuckers are everywhere. Everywhere. The furry fetish has grown pretty much entirely accepted these days. Now, go on your average hentai site and compare the number of entries under the fur tag to anything like big boobs or something, and you will be very, 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 very convinced that the furries are very manpowerly strong. Now, the full-on fursuit stuff again, that's still viewed as fairly deviant behavior because, well, it is fairly deviant behavior. Don't worry, I'm sure the furries will get that to be socially acceptable at some point as well. Where they'll be able to leave the house in their fursuits and have it be normal. That might be going a little bit too far, but... I mean, I guarantee you, people were looking at the bikini like 20, 50 years ago and going like, that will never be normalized. Like, what? You're showing your belly at the beach, you whore. Today... You're lucky if the swimsuit contains more than 3 pieces of fabric. I would not be shocked if the fursuit became a Just holiday wear that you just wear outside. Imagine seeing your grandmother in a fursuit at the beach. Imagine that. Allow your brain to conjure up the image of your aunt or some other family member wearing a big old sweaty fursuit down to the beach, sweating bullets as they do so. Get used to it now, and maybe you won't be sad when it happens to you. Maybe. Maybe that will indicate that you've lost something important if that no longer makes you sad. Maybe that's actually the problem. Perhaps if we did not become so accepting towards these disgusting things, they would not be normalized quite so swiftly. Perhaps. Or maybe it was always a key part of the human condition. It's a leftover from our earlier days, you know? That's the reason why they don't have it in the Middle East. They don't have furries in the Middle East because they're still fucking goats. There's no need to anthropomorphize the goat to make it slightly more socially acceptable. Fucking the goat is already socially acceptable in the Middle East. Whereas in the West, where fucking the goat is indeed not socially acceptable, you need to come up with an excuse. And that excuse is that the goat is anthropomorphic and can totally consent. I don't know. Part of me thinks that makes more sense than I'm entirely comfortable with. No, I wish to have the... There we go. Upsy daisy. 86%. Getting closer. So close now. Da 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 da. Da da da. Animate acumen. He likes being vulnerable with her. What? Superman?
Heresies
Oh, yeah, that
the
makes sense, yeah.
Fire is the answer.
Finn Khan. Art. Superman would use red kryptonite. Depowers him, but doesn't harm him. Doesn't it? But doesn't red kryptonite also make him, like, really angry or something? There was... I remember I saw a list of types of kryptonite. I think red kryptonite just made him pissed off. Ah. Which means that he might potentially hate fuck Lois every night. Yeah, I don't know. Would Lois be into hate fucking? I don't think so. I think Lois would be the dominant personality type. I don't think Lois would approve of hate fucking. I think she would find it demeaning and not very feminist. Yes. Green kryptonite's bad, because that kills them. Pink kryptonite is also bad, because that makes them horny. I swear there were many different kinds of kryptonites, but I can't remember most of them now. Wasn't there one that turned them into animals, too? Maybe I'm misremembering. Samson Quarto, only person capable of withstanding soup is Power Girl. Power Girl. Power Girl is good grill. We do like Power Girl. Power Girl is cool. Because it's Supergirl, but older. This is highly advantageous to everyone. But sadly, she was designed at the wrong time for the wrong audience. In a world where even Lara Croft cannot be allowed to have boobies, you sure as hell know that Power Girl is not going to have a major modern audience. Right, what is left? Forge up a wall. What is left? There we go. The tiniest particle of schmutz still remained. At least they put up ladders for me. That's nice of them. considerate and all that. A Boog, gold kryptonite, deep power supers, pink gender bends. Oh, gender bends.
Service guarantees citizenship.
What would that even mean, though? Supergirl would just become Superman. Would they literally just switch? Like she becomes Clark Kent in the end? That would be weird. That would be really weird. I don't know if I like that. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I think that sounds oddly heretical. Yeah, don't like this segment. Too close to the wall. El Serrano Arch, there was an incident in a school in the US that allowed a kid to come to school in a fursuit. They had to stop it after the kid bit someone while acting out their fursona. Well, what a bigoted school. Why won't they allow a little bit of biting, huh? Don't they know that biting is probably a pretty significant part of the furry mating ritual? I don't know, I'm assuming here. I'm drawing conclusions based on animalistic references. But it seems reasonable that furry sex would include a fair bit of teething. Can I go higher? I can. But I may not use my power washer at that altitude. You know, I think this ladder might be more of a hindrance than a benefit. Oh, God, but I've got to place it somewhere. Where? Where? There. We're saving this for last. Because it looks less annoying than the enormous fuck-off walls everywhere else. Not fantasies. This game brings out the worst thoughts from your furry art-minded arch. Furry art-addled mind arch. There you go. That one made more sense. Listen. There's a lot more furries out there than you think. That's simply just an unfortunate fact that you're going to have to live with. They're everywhere. They're on the bus with you every day. They sit next to you. They talk to you. They're the cashier at your local supermarket. Every time you go on the bus, on the subway, whatever, every time you bump into someone, there's a very good chance one of them's a furry. You know that statistic where they said, like, 1 in 3 people are gay, so a gay man has seen you shower? Well, that's nothing compared to the sheer quantity of furries that have seen you naked and might have imagined you also naked in a fursuit. That is something you should consider. You should consider whether or not just gay men, but when gay furry men are masturbating to you, and what you have done to deserve that. What manner of crime against God have you committed that has led you to this situation? Where you are some gay furry's midnight snack. Perhaps you have not lived as righteous a life as you thought you had. Evidently not. I mean, come on, look at the circumstances here. I mean, you're watching Powerwash Simulator, goddammit. You've clearly done quite a lot of things wrong. Although saying that, probably not as many things wrong as I, who's the one actually playing the damn thing. As I hunt for the last piece of schmutz. Oh yeah, you know, being high up makes it way easier to see smuts on the streets. An elevated position makes the schmutz finding easier. As I lie here on my belly, watching the street below. Mr. Personality, how much to get you to run a campaign of Traveller? I have no idea what Traveller is, so I am unable to provide you with an answer to that question. Belly a little bit out there. I don't like the way I shake. I feel like the scaffolding might give way underneath my vibrations at this rate. Frank the Monster. Superman can shake hands, hug, and carry systems of safety. He has super tactile nerves. Same reason we can carry a baby, but crush a watermelon. I mean, that is a good point. We don't crush babies, normally. We try not to, at least. That is a good point, actually. Yeah, super tactile nerves. Yeah, that's a good point.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
So to Firewater, how are Indians more retarded than Aboriginals, who are literally cavemen because even they know how to poop in holes and bury it? This is also foreign, you know. Well, you know, sometimes your culture just takes a wrong turn somewhere, and you begin worshipping shit. It happens. It's kind of probably something to do with them worshipping cows, you know? That probably unironically has a lot to do with it. How can you worship cows without worshipping vast quantities of feces? And if a cow is sacred, then presumably whatever comes out of the cow is sacred as well. Ergo, cow shit is holy. And you must embrace the cow shit. Does it necessarily make a lot of sense? No. But it's where you are as an Indian. Now open your mouth and accept the cow's blessing. You're not a bigot, are you? You're not an anti-cow activist, are you? Of course not. That would be terrible. Alright, little figurines. Oh. That was not as fun as I thought it would be. I thought they would be little nutcracker figurines. They weren't. They were some kind of weird doll of a king or something instead. That's nowhere near as intriguing. Well, failure. So it's basically they live or invasion of the body snatchers, but instead of aliens, they're weird animal fetishists. Perhaps. Maybe. You'd get abducted so they could carry out their vile experiments with you. You know, I kind of wish we lived in a more interesting superhero world. And then I kind of also don't. Like, imagine, if we lived in a world... There was even an episode of Batman the Animated Series that covered this. If we lived in a world of super science, somebody would decide to make catgirls. Now, that would be a good thing. But then somebody else would decide not furry enough, and then they'd decide to make furries. There's a whole episode of Batman the Animated Series dedicated to making Selena Kyle a straight-up 100% complete coverage furry. They even give her a male to mate with as well. Now, Batman, of course, gets jealous because he's like, hey, that's my furry. And he, defeats the male in honorable combat so that he can claim Selena's furry behind for himself. But that episode has some very clear indicators that some people on the show, even back then, understood what a furry was. And really, really wanted to have one on the show. Wash, 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 wash. Angry Soul Shrek here. Should probably have been more specific. I was thinking more in the vein of how far the non-left should gatekeep and where we should define the boundaries to be. I think the discussion is due for how far is too far and Tale. I shall add that to Tale. And one more to Nineveh and Tale. Where is Tale now? Tale, Zora, Vas Normandy. A good grill. A good grill she is. Very good grill. Note that down. Now, the question of how far is too far is a delicate one. Because not far enough will be just as bad as too much. I think the most fruitful way to go about it is to simply define the term tourist. Now, my definition of tourist is quite simple. It is somebody who puts their politics above the hobby. That's it. That's all. That is the definition of tourist as far as I'm concerned. If somebody goes into a hobby setting and then decides to talk about politics, apropos of nothing, and then starts arguing for why the politics would be very well suited to be in the setting, then that's a tourist and should be gatekept. In more simple terms, we basically just need to enforce as I mentioned, the tyranny of neutrality. The tyranny of neutrality is what we need. It is the idea that, no, you are at the hobby store, you are engaging in 40k or whatever, you are not going to talk about politics, you are not going to talk about religion, and you will be shamed for doing so. Nice and simple. Because there's no point in keeping anyone in specific out of the hobby. You know, there's no reason to go like, oh no, you're trans, so you can't play 40k. No. So long as they behave themselves, there's no reason why somebody who's black, brown, yellow, white, etc., or has this and that sexuality, could not be allowed into the hobby. Even politics, there's no reason why people with far left beliefs couldn't be allowed into 40k, so long as they manage to keep their far left beliefs to themselves. Now, that tends to be a very difficult thing for the average lefty, which will provide a fairly tall stumbling block. But in theory, you could allow anyone and everyone. So it would be easier to police topics rather than anything like identities or even opinions. Although there might be a brief period of time when shaming people for being leftists would be eminently desirable. Yes, I think so. I very much so think so. We need to first reduce the term progressive, at the very least to the equivalent of Nazi. Then we can worry about being fair and nice again. Yes, yes. At least that far we must go. At least that far. Oh. I'm not entirely sure how I'm still staying on the roof. Well, shouldn't have said that, because I wouldn't have said that I fell off. Get clean, get clean, get clean. Get clean. Get clean. I cannot believe people play this for fun. I genuinely don't. I genuinely do not understand why people would play this on their free time to amuse themselves. It seems like madness to me. Like this is work. This is labor right here. This is unironic labor. It's like when people play stuff like Supermarket Simulator and they find it enjoyable. Like some games are just not video games. What can I say? This is one of them. This is one of them. Oh, Jesse Jinx! The world would be drastically improved if we nuked India. They drink cow piss and eat cow shit. We went over to colonize and bring enlightenment, bring them healthcare and industry. We never should have left. Like Rhodesia, it would have been better. That is true.
Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer.
India would have been better off if it had simply stayed under British rule. That is largely correct. As it certainly could not have gotten any worse. And Rhodesia too. Poor Rhodesia. Rhodesia lives on in our hearts. As what could have been. I need to do a proper deep dive into Rhodesia at some point, actually read up on it, and see if all of the memes and surface level stuff I've seen about it is actually true, because it seems like a very intriguing point in history. Get clean, get clean, get clean, get clean, get clean, get clean, get clean. Get clean. Wait, bakery window? What do you mean bakery? Oh, that's the souvenir shop, okay. I was wondering if they were baking bread shaped like people, because that would bring us back to the whole bakery is just breeding bread conversation from earlier. There's no such thing as baking, there's just breeding bread. and pretending to breed bread. Pretending to be bread. I am bread. I am bread, said the loaf. No, you're not, answered the loaf. And so the two had a conversation about what it meant to be bread. What part of you? There we go. We have baked the bread. And then there was a VTuber recently that got terminated off Twitch for making a joke about baking cookies. The main problem was they joked about baking too many cookies. 6 million cookies. Yes. Still a dangerous joke to make. We should be careful about breeding bread and baking cookies. Speaking of, I recently watched Schindler's List. I'd never watched it before. Largely because everyone kept saying it was amazing, and normally when people tell me something is amazing, I expect to be disappointed, because I apparently have very different tastes to most people. And so I was like, oh, the movie's amazing, you have to see it. I watch it, and I'm like, meh, that wasn't that good. Schindler's List was most definitely not that. Schindler's List was actually amazing. That was a great goddamn movie, an amazing goddamn movie. The performance, the style, the delivery, the cinematography, the acting, the intensity of Liam Neeson in that too. Like, oh, damn. It is a tragedy that Liam Neeson will be remembered first and foremost for his Taken roles, rather than his role in Schindler's List. That is genuinely tragic. He'll be remembered as that meme guy who got his daughter kidnapped like 15 times. Instead of what he actually is, an actor of real caliber. Truly unfortunate. Truly, truly unfortunate. You know, this sound is mildly soothing. It's the only moment in this video game where I can find a degree of peace. When I'm spraying the paving. Awning, more correctly. Yeah. Nice fabric-y sound, you know? And then you go outside and you realize there's still a lot of shit to clean. You realize that there's still shit. Everything's still shit. There's still shit over there. There's still shit over here.
Fire is the answer.
This is shit. Everything is just shit and poop. Everything's bird feces. You're drowning in bird feces. It's all you know now. Your life is bird shit. Entire existence. More bird shit. They must have some heavy fucking duty birds around here too, Jesus Christ. Can you imagine the sheer magnitude of the asshole capable of producing this much poop on this wide of a scale? To the point, presumably, where some parts of the wooden buildings get scorched black by the impact. Like bird shit coming from high orbit. Impacting on the ground with such speed and ferocity as to actually, you know, leave
Service
burn
guarantee
marks in the
shield.
pavement. The shop sidewalk is still smutsy. Oh, that's why you're dirty. The outside is dirty too. Fear not, little trumpet. I will wash you. Oh boy. Frank Monster, to counter leftist infiltration, should we start preaching and showing all the biblical similarities for other IPs? 12 Primarch, 12 Disciples, oh my god. Potentially. Being the ability to claim things is important. The ability to make arguments that a thing is yours instead of the left's is important. Now, the thing is, you gotta be careful to not go as far as they did. The left started claiming things that weren't theirs to claim, and that left them in several complicated situations, like with 40K, where they're now forced to continue to claim that 40K is somehow progressive or compatible with their values, whilst also complaining repeatedly about how it's not compatible enough with their values. Now, when you claim a thing, you do need to have a certain basis for the claim, you know? You have to have a good enough reason for why it is your thing and not the left's thing. But not claiming things means that everything becomes the left's thing, because the left claim, again, everything. If you're in a war and only one side is fighting, guess which one will win, etc. I like being up on high as I spray. You know? It kind of makes the power-washy Steve feel a little bit more power-washy-pee, you know? You're just spraying vast streams of urine down below. Unfortunate passers-by getting doused, looking up and wondering what the hell hit them, smelling themselves going, oh, it's piss. Yes. It is. It is piss. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to object? Are you going to try to resist? How? I'm above you. There's nothing you can do to stop even more piss from simply just falling down on top of you and into your life. There is nothing that can be done but surrender to the piss. How's this loudspeaker? Not clean yet. I can't even see any more dirt on it. Is there dirt on top of it? Surely not. No, there isn't. Because even these developers wouldn't be that mean. Where on God's fucking earth is the schmutz? It's not inside of it. It's not up it, is it? It was. Oh, piece of shit. Hey. One wonders what Arch did to deserve this. One really does. Boss Tiger, hey Arch, what are your thoughts on the Space Marine chapter featured in White Wolf, The Gatecrushers? Lore video, possible. I did see that. Well, that is again the cultural hegemony of the left. It is... hell, it's a valuable piece of evidence. Like, oh my god, we're the underdogs, we're the downtrodden and the oppressed. You're featured in the official magazine. There is nothing downtrodden about the left. The left is a cultural institution that is currently in the majority of power. It is important to point this out because they will use the language of the oppressed against you. They will claim to be themselves oppressed because they believe that it will give them cultural capital. That's because it will. People tend to have a almost automatic, innate sense of fairness. This is just a part of the human experience. We tend to dislike things that look unfair, even as we often occasionally revel in the misfortune of others. It's one of those weird little dualities of humanity where we can both enjoy the suffering of our fellow men and also be upset if that suffering is somehow unjustly placed upon them. This is why, like, merely just torturing a character will often have people identify with that character and like them and prefer them, because now they see an underdog to be protected and backed up. Whereas if you take an already strong character and you humble them, they tend to like that a lot more. Right. Is it clean? Is it clean? It appears clean. I think that's clean. It seems clean. 97%. I'm almost done, goddammit. Erik Ankersjære, there is a Danish Christmas cookie called Jødekage. Well, there you go. You've got a good reason to breed a few Jewish cookies then. As Yur the Kage means Jewish cookie in English. Yeah. I am sure that the anti-Semitic origins of this, of this pastry has long been discussed in Denmark. And now we commence the duty of hunting down the last few particles of schmutz that have so far evaded my grasp. Jesse Jinx, the dildo story, and not backing down. I see that we now know how Arch got hurt by his crazy ex-girlfriend. One bad pegging session, and he was left deformed with a new fetish. I have been left twisted and malformed. No, I bear my scars of that encounter on my forehead. Publicly. No scars to my backside, that would be dishonorable. Right, so what's left? Keeping that for last. Shop sidewalk. Anything else? You cannot hide from me, oh, shop sidewalk. Where? Is it hiding underneath the scaffolding? We're hunting literal particles now. Oh. Tavern upper wall. Tavern upper wall. Is that schmutz? Is that schmutz? No. That is a shadow. Up a wall.
Heresy's the
You
question.
do
Fire
this
is the
to
answer.
me. Oh my god, where is it? Oh my god.
Heresy's the question.
Where
Fire is the answer.
would it be hiding from me? Tavern upper wall. Aha!
Heresy's the question.
Discovered
Fire is the answer.
and annihilated. I like to believe that this is what happens in real life. Where the power wash people are just going over the property with a brush, like a toothbrush in the end. Looking for every tiny last little minuscule speck of dirt. So that they can eradicate all of it. They probably have like special made glasses so they can see the filth, just like I do in game. I feel like the sound makes it sound like I'm wearing armor. Am I wearing armor? I am wearing armor. Oh. I don't know why I decided to wear armor to come out power washing. Seems excessive. But who knows, the schmutz could certainly mutate. And rear up like some sort of monstrosity intent upon eating me. In which case, I'm sure a bit of plate mail would keep me totally safe. What do you mean, city road trim? What do you mean, city road trim? You can't be serious. I don't even... That tiny bit of elevated stone there. Mother... Overly pedantic, don't you think? At this point, we'll just spin in a circle, hoping to catch the remaining flecks. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Spray and pray. Dairy shop. Lower walls. I will find you. I have become far too exhausted to deal with your bullshit any longer. $98. Is that everything? Do I have just this left? City Road. Come now. 98% clean, chat. Only 2% more and the nightmare will end for another while. Another year at least.
Citizenship.
And this is where I wish we had, like, cleaning hand grenades. Tucker Jones, hey Arch, loving the Sabbath World series. Any idea what conflict you want to cover next? I haven't even thought of it yet, but I'm sure I'll come up with something at some point. Now, do I have cleaning liquids? Multi-purpose cleaner. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the glory of the multi-purpose cleaner. Look at it. Look at it. Make everything clean. Well, sort of. Not really. I feel like they over-exaggerate the effect of soap in this game. You know? They give it to you as if it was some sort of super secret super weapon that could totally make everything clean, but in reality, I don't really think that's the case. I don't really think that's the case. I think, honestly... I feel like it would almost be as quick to just use the other thing, but at least this one has, you know, area of effect. Which is nice. I like the idea of it having area of effect, you know? Speeds things up a little. Even if I don't necessarily agree with it being as effective as perhaps it should be. I would still just like a cleaning hand grenade. Just a giant cleaning bomb that covers every surface around it. And a big boom of soap. Of soap and death. Might as well use the wood cleaner as well. Listen, there's probably some wood here. In fact, there's a lot of wood here. Look at that. Oh my god, puppets. Puppets cleaned. Ding, 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 ding. Ah, this is the Pavlov dog moment we all live for. The sound of clean. A wider nozzle, too, would be nice. Yeah. And now, we're all out of fun and games, and we have to return to our usual thing. I don't know what this is. What is this? Oh. Oh. Look at that. It's like a super precise spinny thing or something. I hate it. I hate it a lot. Oh, 99% the suffering is just about an end. We're almost done. Almost. So very close. So very close. Mr. P, I'll find the books later. You can look over the lore at your leisure. Books? Mongoose collection start here. Mongoose Publishing. What is this? I don't know. Jizzy Dinks, these were names attached to those last Donos March. I know, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. I'm noted it down, mostly. Largely. I can't wait to get the automated system for that too up and running. That will be nice. Now, what part of you is not clean? There you go. Puppet stage. I have to clean the individual puppets, don't I? Of course I do. Why would I not need to clean the individual puppets? It's amazing to me that somehow these puppets all managed to remain upright. Despite all of this. They must be bolted down or something. Whoever made this puppet show said to themselves, I will not have my puppets blown over. No matter what. Come wind, come storm, come hail, come thunder. My puppets will remain solidly affixed to the stage. What's left? Information stand hanging sign. Oh, of course. Of course. Of course it would be dirty on that side. Just the roof. Just the roof left. Just a tiny bit left. Just a tiny bit left. Just need to climb up there. Just a tiny bit left. Can I? I can't. No fear. I'll just douse it from afar. $99%. Still not everything. Frame? Frame? Frame. Where is your dirt? Where is your dirt? Where is your dirt? Where are you hiding it? I know you're hiding it. God help me. Seriously. Where? What? Bonk. Okay. 99%. We're still missing something. God. Wait. I saw a flash of white. What are we missing? What am I missing? Loudspeaker? No. Trees? No. Loudspeaker? That's still not everything. You're hiding dirt under the floorboards, aren't you? Where? 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 Oh, oh, oh. I'm just hunting for that. Oh, that something over there? That tiny little piece of white. Indicating that something somewhere has not been perfectly cleaned to the exacting standards of my organization. Oh. City road. Sidewalk. Shop sidewalk. What do you mean, frame? Okay. That's another tiny piece. Another tiny piece. As there's yet more dirt hiding. Oh. Tavern doorstep cleaned. God. At least the video game could give me a hint. Is one of the axles not clean, perchance? Yes. $99%. 99%. 9%. 99%. Okay. The axles are clean. The city road. Could it be one of these things? There it is. City road trim.
Heresy's the question. Fire
You have to
is the
clean
answer.
the tiny elevated pieces of rock. What kind of fucking sadistic cleaning master would check that? You're done with your job and he comes in and goes like, no, you're not. What do you mean? I've cleaned everything. No, you haven't. Look, there's a piece of dirt left on this tiny elevated piece of city road here. Fucking sadists. Right, that's clear. 99%. Oh. Bakery. Lower wall. 99%. 99%. 99%. 99%. 99%. 99%. 99%. 99. Booth, parapets, door, handle, door, stuff. Smuts. Nicht Smuts. What the fuck? Trash can. Wall, city wall. Banner, trash can. Fucking piece of fucking shit. Fucking piece of fucking shit. Okay. Information stand lever mechanism. What do you mean? What do you mean it's not clean? 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 Okay, dairy shop flower boxes. Dairy shop. Tavern. Dairy shop. Bakery. Dairy shop. Flower boxes. Flower boxes? Flower boxes. And entrance turnstiles. What do you... Turnstiles? Turnstiles? What do you mean it's not clean? Entrance turnstiles. There's only 2 of them. And they're both clean. There's nothing more to clean. They are clean. They themselves say they are clean. They are both white. Are they not? Are they not? What do you mean they're not clean? They're clean! Motherfucker, I don't even know what I cleaned, but it's done! It's fucking over. Ugh, awful, awful fucking video game. awful, awful, fucking piece of shit video game. Look at that. Everything's clean now. Everything is perfectly clean and unschmutziged. There's no more schmutz. No more schmutz. And no, we are not continuing. I hate Powerwash Simulator. I hate it a lot. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to add that to Chrysalis. Class 1 Fukbut. Saddest thing about Rhodesia in South Africa is how prosperous they were prior to the native rule. I saw an old video of the Rhodesian capital and was astounded with how nice and wealthy it looked, and South Africa was a nuclear power before the ANC took over. Yes. It was doing very well, and then it wasn't. And Ericon is going to press escape. We are escaping now. I am fleeing off into the ether to some other place. A better place, filled with less Powerwash Simulator. Oh, God. Until tomorrow, chat, and Dragon Age Veilguard. I've been Hutch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again tomorrow with Veilguard. Have a good day, chat.